starting
craziness.
So we should push record.
Doing it.
Also, yeah, hit record, and I turned off all of the ultra low latency stuff, so you don't have to deal with that this week.
Bing. Here come 20 emails telling me.
I've got YouTube Live and YouTube high latency.
Oh, you can turn off high latency. You don't need it. Nice. It's all high latency this week.
How is it?
Hello, Chars.
Oh, so YouTube Live is high latency?
Yeah, correct.
Copies.
Because the high latency stuff actually requires an event, so you have to not only turn on high latency, but then you have to go into YouTube, preview the event, and start the event. And I was like, too much work for a show like this.
Copy. I've got Facebook, YouTube Live, Twitch, and Periscope streaming.
Why, hello, Facebook, YouTube Live, Twitch, and Periscope.
Right.
Hello.
Going to crash record.
That's all?
Yeah, crash record. I am a hologram this week. Actually, I'm on the Starship Enterprise.
Oh my god.
Which you can see from the cool light behind me. I wish I could hide this cable a little better. Like that.
I crashed record.
Yes, Karen, you have a question? Correct. Yeah. It's a good question because this is a really good time to do it. Is there anything on there for this trip that you need? Because I mean, most of that stuff you'll be able to restore from like the cloud kind of thing, but not as a cohesive. Yeah, but email you can add using the technique. Calendar will come back from the cloud. Yeah. So if you want to do that, now's a really good time to do that, and I can probably even help you because I'm not a new. Hi, Tim Dodd, the Everyday.
So close.
Oh, for the sake of sakes.
Oh, for Pete's sake. This is not
good. Yeah,
nice.
that's a good idea. Yeah, I think so. And then I can help you after. By the way, I will not be able to participate in After Dark. Is that okay, everyone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and Jared's got a hard out at 1. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I would go ahead and do it. I think your phone. I still think your phone is borked because of that, and I think your Apple Watch thing is the latest. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Did you say Starship Enterprise again?
He did already. Okay. So.
Oh, I'm bringing it up on the show too. Don't you worry. Well, so if I get rid of this, it actually looks cooler, I think. But I need...
Well, can you just put it all the way to that side so you still have something right?
I can actually see all the way to here. But I was looking for like a smaller pillow, like if I fold that one maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
That works?
Yeah.
It's not me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then I can be like, No, I think this is enough. I think you can have that back.
Hey, Jared.
I understand.
Jared.
What's up?
Can you bring the TV just a smidge closer to you? And just that end. Like rotate it around. There you go. Stop. Right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Oh.
I wanted to get Ben's kissy face without a reflection of your t-shirt in it.
That sounds good.
Max Q, the show starts in about 15 minutes, but we're having issues with Tim Dowd, the Everyday Astronaut, and I would like to get his tech worked out because everyone's remote for this one, so boy, wouldn't that suck if it didn't work.
I'm not remote.
Aren't you, though?
I want to be remote.
If you think about it, yeah. Yeah.
So if I set up a VPN, technically, Dada, I think you could be remote.
Except for crashing record.
Well, I mean, let's not go splitting hairs here.
I'd have to fix that, but yeah.
Oh, right, because that can be done
crash
from the board
anymore.
Or used to be done.
Yeah, it'd be just a regular record then. You wouldn't be crashing it. Corey on YouTube says, the Skype floating logo must hit the corners. I cannot tell you how often I'm at the studio doing tech work, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, maybe this time. Maybe this time. So Bill on YouTube saying the high latency stream isn't up because everyone of value is remote. I'm letting that sink in. No one. Okay.
Ben, you're good.
Here's how we solve that problem.
I have no power. I have no power.
I'm sorry, everyone of what?
So anyhow, because everyone's remote, the only stream we have is the high latency stream. We are not testing ultra low latency this week. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on high latency. It's actually technically low latency, but that's still 10 plus seconds, which in every other industry is considered high latency. So I call it high latency. The TMRO homepage should have the showtime in UTC. Oh, Vax, how'd it go?
Scrub.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Wayward plane.
Why did you scrub? Wayward plane?
Mm-hmm.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm. Yep, there were apparently multiple small planes in the area. So
I can change it on YouTube.
Tim Dodd, we have video.
I'm about to sneeze.
We have no audio.
All right, sinuses. Thanks for that.
Let me give you a quick update.
There we go. There's
So
an
I
audio.
cannot,
There's audio from
but
Tim
that's
Dodd.
not the black magic. That's the webcam again. I don't know what it is about this black magic garbage. It's being mean. There we go.
There you go. Description's updated.
Can you see anything now?
I have no video from you.
Hey.
Give me a second. It's showing up at least in my thing.
I have audio.
Hey.
It's low volume.
ADD dude. ADD dude, like 10 minutes.
11.
Yes, Carrie Ann.
11.
Let me switch this
Oh,
again
bring
real
it. I don't
quick.
remember.
Now. Do you not see that either?
I see no video.
What the heck? I see no video on your end as well. For that. Oh, hold on. Here we
Video's
go.
in.
It's coming.
Audio's in.
That's the old one. That's the old one. Now let me switch to this and you'll have it. I almost... No! Hang on. Just make sure. Haha. Do you want me... Which way do you want me right now?
Regular. Because now you're weird. We're not doing newsroom this morning.
No newsroom this morning.
Correct.
Okay. Noted.
Friendly with Capcom.
Hey there.
Shh, don't tell me.
Hi, Tim Dodd.
Somebody might get the impression that
Hi,
she actually
how
likes
are
you.
you?
Oh my
This
god,
okay?
the half-second latency between me and then the half-second latency between you means we have like a full second latency between each other. This is going to be amazing.
No. Oh, that's ridiculous. We'll have to keep an eye on that so that Jared can maybe like mediate that a little bit and be like, yeah, like make sure we're not trying to interrupt each other a whole ton because I don't think we'll be able to catch each other.
Maybe you guys should, like, listen.
So,
Tim Dodd, can you
Yeah.
center your camera? Can you see how you are on the observation deck?
Absolutely, I can center it better. Yep.
I mean, I can do it on my end too, but I'm lazy. Is your shirt a picture of your spacesuit with a patch and your binoculars?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
That's why I made the joke that his zipper was down.
Oh, Carrie Ann mentioned that last week, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. That's what made me want to wear it this week.
Zen Punk on YouTube is asking, did Space Mike leave the show? No. So the Space Mike hologram is still out for repairs. They were shipping it back. Unfortunately, they dropped it, cracked the screen, so we've sent it back to the vendor for additional repairs. I don't actually have an ETA. We thought the Space Mike hologram would be back this week, but we'll let engineering actually fix it. And
For some reason, the HDMI port was plugged. I don't understand.
Carrie Ann says she thinks we're getting an upgrade.
Oh,
Upgrade to, Factor says upgrade to 4K and quantum communications.
hold on, I'm gonna try to rebroadcast this on Twitch or whatever it's called. Can you guys hear me? Okay. By the way, is my audio okay?
Yeah.
Seems fine to me.
Good.
Is this the
Better than last week, then.
Is this the solution you're going to be using?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. This is the final
Give me,
final say in everything.
give me some words, please.
All right. Hi, I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Blah, blah, blah. Things that are stuff and space in it. If you have a space, then you need to go to space. And that's
All right,
what
thanks.
space is.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Your Skype return with the multi-view, is it 4:3 and cropped down, or is it 16:9 in full screen?
It's 16:9, but not full screen.
Yeah, but it's not cropped, right? You see the whole image?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't.
So it
wait,
must
maybe
be
it
something
is a
unique
little
to this
bit. Maybe.
computer.
Oh,
No,
wait,
it's all right.
wait,
So, I
hang
mean, it would be apparent. Like,
Actually,
mine, I can only see camera 2, camera 3, guest, and social, like, completely, and then everything else is cropped off to the side. You do not see that, correct?
oh, no, but I can just drag and like physically drag the window around, and it dynamically changes that. You know.
Oh my
Does that make
god, I feel so. Oh, that's really a crappy feature, because if you go too far, it starts cropping from the bottom.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, and you don't know
horrible.
it. You don't know that. Yeah, I just figured that out like last week or something.
Because I was dragging it around, and it was like, I didn't perceive that it was changing the crop factor. Who designed this piece of crap?
I know. I've had so much trouble with it lately.
Are you accusing Skype of being a good piece of software?
No, I'm doing the opposite.
I'm sorry. Were you assuming that Skype was a good piece of software?
Wow.
Apparently. Maybe it is time that we change to like a WebRTC technology or something like that, because this is really, truly not a great experience for the guest.
Hey, and you know what? I had good luck with. It has really good sounding audio. Have you ever used Zoom for anything?
No, shoot me some information. Is it super easy for people who are not computer literate to get into?
They can. Yes, they can actually just go to the website. They don't have to download anything.
Shoot me information
And
if you don't mind.
The audio quality was fantastic, like 10 times better.
Okay, yeah, shoot me info.
Nice.
Product plug.
Will do.
It's a little.
I feel like
it's a
this
little
episode of
unclear.
Silicon Valley.
Who's the dude on the left?
Oh, we didn't update the intro with what news
there
is
like-
going to happen today. So
Yeah.
What's that little like white bar at the bottom of me on the TV? Like right here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just moved.
Can you just move the super source down ever so slightly?
Oh, is it? It might be my monitor. Is it in real? No, not in real life.
No, I think it's it's me. It's actually me. Thanks, Donna. That's great.
I'm a ghost. Hey, Dad. Looks like it might need to be a smidge bigger because now it's at the top too. Just the teeniest, insiest, beansiest, teeniest beat. Alright, I'm gonna start streaming to.
There's like a music video somebody I used to know.
what are we covering for news today?
Yeah,
We need to-
Pilot.
Tim Dodd, you need to stick an image in the open A2 cold open.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I need to do that too, right?
Yep.
Hero Pilot, if you
Let
have
me go back.
other ideas as to software that might work, please let me know.
Deal.
I'll go first.
How do I get back into it if I'm like, this is what? I'm in the
If you're in,
tablet version.
It should be.
it should be
another
it
tab.
should have opened in an or just open it in another tab. I swear to God, Jared, I'm going to buy you a different keyboard. It's Jared. I'm going to buy him a water key. No, that's still going to be loud.
No, you need to go.
I will This is.
You need to go the other way so that he's actually you got to go do the old IBM clink clink clink.
No.
Mechanical keyboard. That'll work well, right?
We have at Company X in the area I work, we've got keyboard enthusiasts who build their own clanky keyboards and then like design them around the noise and the tactile feel. And yeah, when you walk in that area, you just hear pam, 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 pam. It's like the freaking typewriters over there.
Dang. Oh, so
Almost as
hey, in
loud
this
as
we
yours.
want the actual, we want the news source, don't we? Like the news item, right?
Yeah,
just the image.
like an image, just coming up. This is what we're going to be talking about today, and just throw an image in there.
Can I talk about a launch, or does it have to be my news item?
No, news.
Because my news item is a video, and that's all I think.
Well, grab a screen.
Is that okay?
Grab a screenshot, upload an image, put an image in there.
Give me a sec. Life cereals.
Lur, I am using the holographic keyboard.
I'm a really fast typist, but I do it Montgomery Scott status with just two fingers instead of the whole hand. So.
You're an angry typist.
Well, I'm very fast, so I don't have time to I don't have time to be gentle. So.
You're a journalist from the 30s.
1 minute. Are we ready in 1 minute, or are we going to take some time?
1 minute?
We need some time for the cold open. That's right. So.
Yeah, I gotta.
So for those of you watching on YouTube, really quick, if you're just joining us on YouTube and you're used to the high latency and low latency options, this week we are only doing high latency because I am remote and the ultra low latency was tested and I didn't want to add that as a variable. So your DVR should be enabled. It should be a solid stream. It's all old school high latency YouTube stuff. So your conversation, it won't be as conversational, but it should be a more stable stream.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting this into the Google Drive folder as we speak.
What we need the ultra low latency with DVR enabled so that if you are having issues, you can just pause it for a second and then hit play, and then you'll be a little bit more latent, but we still won't have this like 10-second gap. I feel like that'd be the best of all worlds. They just need to turn the frickin' DVR back on. They don't understand what about the DVR prevents it from running in low latency mode. Just, I don't know.
Okay, let me finish this up here, and then I will be ready.
Is it some sort of encoding or stream conversion or something that would?
I mean, it's already doing the chunking for, I assume it's Dash, so it's already doing the Dash chunking. So if you've already got those chunks, you're just dropping them to disk. I'm wondering if maybe it's the drop to disk issue, like making that available across their CDN that's causing the latency. But even then, you're already...
What's the difference between doing it with real time versus the high latency? You're still doing it. You're still doing it, and you're still doing it at the same rate. It just doesn't...
Kind of. So no, it's how many chunks you present and how big you make those chunks.
Right.
The higher latency stuff is actually a much larger chunk, which is what's creating the latency. So it is in fact different. And I'm wondering if So I said I don't understand, and then like my brain was going, well, actually, it could be these things. The things without knowing their infrastructure, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I'm wondering if the smaller chunks create a bigger issue with dropping to drug or something like that.
Tim, we good?
I think so. Do you want to check that? I had to like just manually type it out.
Checking.
Now, I'm not in news data, so I don't know that I need to be on the screen for news, right?
I kind of figured you'd intro the show.
Oh.
Or
Sure, I can do that.
Or Jared intro, and then you say, like, coming up or something. I don't know.
I can do the intros.
Sure.
I'll act as Capcom. I'll act as Capcom. It'll be a little latent, but we'll see what we can do.
Just understand, Tim Dodd, that Ben is slow.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
You know.
so especially Tim
Like
Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, when we're in the intro, step on, let's see here, I'll pass it to Jared, and then Jared will pass it directly to you. I won't pass to you.
Okay.
Does that make
Good
sense?
idea.
And then,
Yep.
And
Well,
then,
there's no
Dada,
no pass. Just Tim just needs to step on the end of Jared.
well, ever so, is because it's not double latency, so just step slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Jared, what are you going to say?
I'm going to say we've got a bunch of asteroids photobombing the universe.
And then
I'm going to say...
there's a bit of a
I
beat.
forgot to write my little bit in, and SpaceX experiences a failure of an engine on their test stand. Which shouldn't even be news. Hello, rocket science.
Are we coming... when we come out of the intro of the show itself, am I doing that? Or
No, I'll act as Capcom. So I'm running
Okay.
the intro. I'll take care of Patreon slates. I'll take care of all that jazz. When we come out of the intro, Dada, maybe you can go full screen to me because they're just going to be sitting there.
Right.
And then so I'll drop to the Patreon slates, then come back to the studio, and then I'll go between the news items. And then today we're talking about Commercial Crew and our predictions for 2018. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm ready.
Tim, ready?
This is 10:42.
Ready?
10:42, yes. Jared, good?
Yep, good to go.
Okay. Chat room, are you ready? Hold. Stop the thing. Your camera states and keys and wrong freaking labels. I'm just going to do coming up because we didn't fix things.
Yeah, I can't really fix that remotely.
Yeah, no. It's fine.
Tim with 3 M's.
Tim
with 3 M's, really? No, we'll just do that. Coming up.
Such a professional show.
Cool. Okay.
Hold. RTLS.
No, not an RTLS.
Okay, I'm ready if everybody else is.
Yep, let's do this.
Let's go.
And welcome to Tomorrow Orbit 10.42 for Saturday, November 11th, 2017. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. I'm coming to you live from the Starship Benterprise. I'm going to be joined by Jared. Sorry.
Why?
Because it's amazing.
No.
Oh, yeah. No, it's staying in. You guys be ready for it because it's happening.
Are you ready for it, Ben?
For once, I'm not the one cracking up about this. This is absolutely not funny to me, and
I'm sorry. I'm ready. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's my fault. Welcome to Tomorrow, Orbit 10.42 for Saturday, November 11th.
Hold.
Yeah. I'm out of mute. I'm out of mute groups. And I didn't grab your button first.
We're eventually going to get this show going today, so
We've had rougher starts, okay?
at some point. So
We'll do it live.
I like the word mute groups. I,
Yeah.
for one, vote for that being a common phrase.
Well, yeah.
Mute groups.
There we go.
And welcome to Tomorrow, Orbit 10.42 for Saturday, November 11th, 2017. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. This week I'm coming to you live from the Starship Enterprise, but joining us at Station 204, we've got Jared Head. Jared, what news have you got for us this week?
well, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of asteroids photobombing the universe.
Oh, and I'm
And
going
Tim
to talk
Dahl, the
about
everyday
space-
astronaut? See, yeah. Hang on, I gotta figure out how I'm
Are we
gonna.
going to have Ben transition?
No. So.
Perfect. Smooth as silk.
So.
Come on, guys. There's only so much I can smile.
I don't
No, I'm sorry. No, that was my fault because I didn't introduce Tim, and I realized my mistake, and so now I just need a moment to figure out how I'm going to do this.
Why don't you introduce Tim first, and then introduce Jared? Then you can go to Jared's news, and then Tim will.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep. That's exactly what I'll do. Great, thank you. I'm sorry. All right, let's do this. Let's do this for real this time. Good practice runs. And welcome to Tomorrow, Orbit 10.42 for Saturday, November 11th, 2017. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham, joining you live from the Starship Enterprise. I'm also joined by a Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, and a Jared Head back at Station 204. Jared, what news have you got for us today?
Well, we're going to be talking about asteroids photobombing the universe.
Oh, and I'm going to be talking about SpaceX experiencing an engine failure this week.
And then for our live segment, we're going to be talking about the commercial crew updates and what's coming up on... Jesus Christ.
Are you kidding me? What? You're not allowed to leave, Ben.
Did you guys party too hard in Vegas or something, or what's going on?
Yeah, something like that. All right, so Donna,
too many cinnamon rolls.
For that part, let's go back. Let's stay wide the whole time with everyone. We don't need to go tight for any of that. And then when we come back out of it, we'll go to me tight for introducing the Patreon slates. And I need to say, and for our main topic, we're talking about commercial crew updates and what we're expecting for 2018. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait.
Let's do this again.
Say again.
Yeah.
You want to come back to everybody, and then after the intro, you want to be solo for patron.
That's correct. Yeah. So for the
Copy.
cold open itself, we can basically stay wide, and then it's after the cold open where we'll go tight to me.
Copy. Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And welcome to Tomorrow, Orbit 10.42 for Saturday, November 11th, 2017. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham, coming to you live from the Starship Enterprise. I'm also joined by Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, and a Jared Head. Jared, what kind of news do you have for us today?
Well, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of asteroids photobombing the universe.
And I'm going to be talking about SpaceX experiencing a small failure with one of their engines this week.
And for our main topic this week, we have commercial crew updates and what we're expecting for 2018. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
With news, I did want to give a shout out to all of our patrons of tomorrow. These are people who've contributed $10 or more to this specific episode. You can check out all the great rewards on patreon.com/TMRO. And we are a crowdfunded show, so every single dollar in all of that helps a great deal. All right, let's go ahead and get started with some space news. Tim, we're going to start off with you with some launches.
Hold.
Tell me what we...
You stepped on the intro's audio, and I didn't have you unmuted. Do you
Okay.
Do I need to roll that again, or can we just give you audio and then you edit that? Or do you want me to roll it and use
I'm thinking about the edit point. Stand by. Yeah, I'll just take it from there. I can edit that.
Okay.
All right. Now, before we get started with news from this coming week, I did want to give a huge shout out to all of the patrons of tomorrow who have helped make this specific segment of this episode happen. These are people who've contributed $10 or more to this specific episode. To find out how you can help crowdfund the shows of tomorrow, head over to patreon.com/TMRO. All right. We'd like to get started with some launches, and Everyday Astronaut, you've got us set up this week for that. So tell us what we had launching first this last week.
Yeah, well, we're going to start off with a new segment called Watch Tim Slaughter Pronunciations of Everything, because we're starting off with a launch out of China with a Long March 3B from their Xicheng launch base in China. So let's check this out. And this happened at 11:45 UTC, and China successfully lifted two Beidou navigation satellites to a medium Earth orbit on top of their most powerful rocket, the Long March 3B. This is the first time China's launched a Long March 3B since they had a failure of June just this year. And that failure was due to a roll control error in the rocket's third stage, which put the ChinaSat 9A television satellite into a lower than planned orbit. This was the 41st launch of the Long March 3B, with only one failure and two partial failures. An important note that I want to point out about China launches is that they launch from the middle of China, not next to the ocean. So this means, and this launch is no different. We already have footage of where the pieces of rocket fall after they separate. We already have this interesting footage. This is from just the launch on Sunday already. Locals found this giant chunk of rocket, and I just think that's insane.
Just hanging out by the river.
Just hanging out. And this is another example. This is a previous one, but this is one of my favorites. It just shows toxic fumes pouring out over the people.
Don't breathe the smoke.
They say it smells like fish.
Don't breathe the hydrazine. Everyone, stand back. It's just insane to me. I just wanted to point that out because that's one of my favorite things about these Chinese launches. And, last week I mentioned that I feel like the Delta II rocket is one of the most Kerbal rockets of all time. If you don't know what Kerbal Space Program is a fun computer game. But to me, there's nothing more Kerbal than dropping parts of your spent rocket boosters on top of people. So, China, you win the Kerbal Award. So, yeah, that was a success.
All right.
Other than the falling in a river.
Your next launch, Tim, you had a launch for the Moroccan government.
That's correct. So next up, we have a launch from the Moroccan government that took place Wednesday, November 8th at 1:42 UTC, which was 8:42 Eastern local time on Tuesday night. So let's check that out.
4, 3, 2, 1, top. À image P80. Décollage.
That baby takes off so fast. Now, this was a reconnaissance optical imaging satellite named Muhammad 6A, which launched on top of an Arianespace Vega rocket from the Guyana Space Center in Kourou, French Guiana. The Vega is a solid rocket fuel rocket that stands about 30 meters tall or 98 feet tall and pushed the 1,100 kilogram satellite into a 620 kilometer high polar orbit. Now, all 11 launches of the Vega rocket so far have been successful, so 100% success rate, good job. But little was known about the satellite before the launch. It was only known by its code name, MN3513, and we only found out who the satellite's end user was just last week. So this is congratulations on 100% success rate with this rocket. And notice how great they have an awesome animation. I made fun of Orbital ATK last week with their animation, but ESA or Arianespace, that's a great looking animation. So congratulations for success and for a good looking webcast.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the fire that came off the back of that engine. That was a real time rendering of the fire. Looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pass it on over to Jared over at Station 204, talking about getting photobombed in astronomy. Jared, what the heck?
Yeah, every once in a while it kind of happens, and we just kind of deal with it because we get a little bonus out of it, like I'll be talking about. So the Hubble Space Telescope, it's one of the most productive instruments of anything that we've ever made as humans. And there's been a recent survey that's been being done by Hubble since 2013 called the Frontier Fields. This is basically pointing Hubble at really big galaxy clusters and taking in as much light as possible and using the gravitational lensing of these galaxy clusters to look beyond the galaxy cluster and see things that are further away, right to 450 million years right after the Big Bang. So we're talking looking back over 13 billion light years away. So really, really far stuff. And these frontier fields, they've actually changed how we view galactic evolution. We found that galaxies formed a lot earlier than we initially expected. They provided us those views of gravitational lensing, and that can actually help us nail down just how much dark matter is in a galaxy cluster. And then these images themselves are just absolutely breathtaking as well, especially one like this, like we have up right now, where every object in this image is a galaxy, and because of the gravitational lensing, some of the light from those galaxies is actually smeared out and warped. And, you know, we're seeing galaxies in this image that are 4 billion times fainter than what the lower limit of the human eye can see. But sometimes closer neighbors to the Earth will photobomb these images, and those would be asteroids within our own solar system. So this actually happens quite a lot when Hubble is trained to take these frontier fields along the plane of our solar system. And in this image, the asteroids are basically those streaks of light that you see there. Now, you think this would be really annoying to us astronomers, especially those trying to study cosmology and the evolution of the universe. But actually, this is really a bonus with these photobombs, because for every 15 hours of exposure in Hubble's frontier fields, we'd end up finding a previously unknown asteroid. So not only did we get incredible science out of the frontier field program, but also looking at these images, we were able to find new objects within our own cosmic backyard here in the solar system. And out of all of the frontier fields that Hubble did, we ended up getting about 100 asteroids that were previously undiscovered, and several hundred more that we knew about, and we basically got really good data about the orbits of those asteroids as well. So that's sort of one of the bonuses that ends up happening when you do studies like this, is that, hey, not only did we get a really great data about the early evolution of the universe, we also found some things that could potentially be hazardous that we would just rather want to keep a good eye on and track as effectively as possible. So it was a really fun study. So
Awesome. Thank you, Jared. A quick dumb question. So we're going to eventually retire Hubble, and we're going to move it over to James Webb Space Telescope. But the sensor suite on James Webb is different than Hubble. Are they still going to be able to detect things like this and do things like this on James Webb as opposed to Hubble?
So James Webb is going to be looking in infrared light. And as we look further back in the universe, the light is shifted more towards the red end of the spectrum. And some of the furthest objects, that light is actually shifted into, it's so red that it's shifted into infrared. So with James Webb, we're estimating we're going to see about 200 million light years beyond what what Hubble is capable of doing. And also right now, Hubble's really healthy right now. It's exceeding the expectations from the STS-125, which was the repair mission done in 2009. So actually what's going on potentially is that we may have Hubble and James Webb both operational at the same time, and if that happens, they can actually do studies together and potentially even do what we call interferometry, which is where you take two telescopes that are far apart, you combine their light, and you basically make a telescope as big as they are far apart. Now, James Webb will be about 1.6 million kilometers away from us. They're going to drop it in Lagrange point 2, which is, or Earth-Sun Lagrange point 2, which is behind the Earth relative to the Sun. So I don't think they're going to get resolution from like a telescope 1.6 million kilometers across if they do the interferometry, but they will definitely get what we would call parallax data, which is basically the ability to look at the relative positions because they are so far apart. And these instruments are so precise, we'll actually be able to look at some objects and get very precise distances to them, and also maybe see what we can do in combining both of those types of light together. So some really cool science if both are operational at the same time.
That would be really cool. We just got to get James Webb up and operational to make that happen. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's head on over to Space Mike. Space Mike, you almost got by without talking about SpaceX, but that's not going to be a thing. Space Mike. Oh, well, look what I did. Tim, the everyday astronaut, the other Space Mike.
Jeez.
I know I'm no Space Mike, and I never will be. You don't have to keep reminding me. But you're exactly right. I almost made it the entire show without talking about SpaceX. But unfortunately this week, we don't have the best news to report, but it's not that big of a deal. But last weekend, SpaceX was they experienced a failure of one of their Merlin engines. That's their engine that they use for absolutely everything. They were just doing a standard test down there at McGregor. They have a test facility down in McGregor, Texas. Now, to lay some context here, SpaceX actually fires every single one of their engines that flies. It goes down to McGregor, fires on its own, then comes back, gets integrated onto the stage, then goes down and fires again as the whole stage, then gets shipped to the launch pad and fires again for a short static duration. So SpaceX fires these engines all the time. I mean, we're talking about, out of the 45 or whatever Falcon 9 launches, times the 10 Merlin engines, because there's an upper stage engine. You have to consider how many engines they've fired altogether. If each one's been fired about 3 times per launch. So that's a lot of engines, a lot of data. But here's what's happening. They're currently working, and this is not footage of that. This is just footage of what a test fire looks like of the Merlin engine. And now they're currently working on the newest iteration of their Merlin engine, and they're working on it for this upcoming Block 5 of the Falcon 9. And now this Block 5 will be a little bit more reliable, hopefully. It will also be upgraded for thrust. And the big thing is they're hoping to fix. There was some concern over the cracks inside the turbine of the turbo pumps. So they're addressing that issue. So hopefully future Merlin engines will not have any issues with cracked turbo pumps, cracks in their turbo pump housing or in the turbine. And we'll see. So that's what they're working on right now. So they're just kind of sitting there going nuts with this stuff, trying to really hammer out all the details before they get ready to fly people on it, because this engine will be, this upgraded version will be on this Block 5, which will be the ones that carry people to space, which is very exciting. But here's all we know. We don't know a lot, and it's honestly, guys, it's probably not a huge deal. We're just hearing about it because we have an ear to the ground at all times on all these things. But basically, they were loading up oxygen, and they sent it through all the cooling channels and into the chambers and all that stuff. And it seems like there may have been some small leak. They weren't even ready to test fire, and it sounds like the liquid oxygen may have come in contact with something. And all it takes is a little bit. Liquid oxygen, when it comes in contact with just about anything, will turn that almost anything. If it has any kind of carbon at all on it, it'll pretty much explode. It'll start burning because it's in a pure oxygen environment. So it could have been something relatively small. And that being said, it sounds like, no one was hurt. Nothing really got damaged too bad. The test stand should be back in about 2 to 4 weeks. So, as this was an engine for the Block 5 qualification testing, this does not affect any of their launches currently on Block 4. So there's still going to be a launch next week. There's still a bunch of Block 4 launches in the end of the year. I think at least probably 4 more launches this year. This does not seem to have any effect on that, so don't get too worried for those of us that are, watching every second of this stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. And for those wondering, because I did screw up and said Space Mike. Space Mike is back out again this week. We hope to have him back soon. So because people are mentioning that they miss him in the chat room, we miss him too. But hopefully he'll be back soon. But we love Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, as well. And we'll see how many times I screw that up throughout the rest of the show. It's gonna be fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, let's send it back over to you, Jared. You're talking about Jupiter at this point. So
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So in mythology, Juno was the wife of Jupiter. And one of the things that Juno did is that Jupiter was quite, how should we say, prodigious in his lovers that he had throughout history. So Juno, his wife, would often have to lift a veil that Jupiter would put forth to try to prevent Juno from seeing what he was up to. So it's very fitting that a spacecraft called Juno is now orbiting Jupiter and trying to get some of the secrets of the largest planet in our solar system. But we're not just using Juno, we're actually combining observations from other spacecraft out there as well. And specifically, we're using NASA's Chandra X-ray telescope and the European Space Agency's XMM Newton telescope as well. And they found that not only are there X-ray hotspots at Jupiter's north and south pole, which is actually what you would expect with the interaction of the solar wind and the magnetic field, but we've actually found that they don't line up with each other. And in addition to that, they act completely independently of each other as well. Now, scientists are going to be using Juno to examine these X-ray pulses that are seen coming from the south pole of Jupiter. They actually come in 11-minute cycles. And with Juno there, we can actually study them in much better detail than we can manage even with Chandra and Newton around the Earth. And these X-ray emissions that come from Jupiter's north pole, they're very erratic, they're not as energetic, they brighten and they dim, they have no consistent pattern, and they're completely independent. Now, the current hypothesis is that this could be occurring due to the tilt of Jupiter's magnetic field relative to the actual tilt of Jupiter itself. And there's also other hypotheses that are suggesting that we may simply be seeing a bias in observation because the north pole of Jupiter is much easier to see from Earth than the south pole of Jupiter is. So they're going to continue to do studies with Juno at Jupiter and also Chandra and XMM Newton in orbit around the Earth. And this should provide us some clues as to what's exactly happening with these X-ray hotspots over the north and south pole of Jupiter. And if not clues, then hopefully the outright answers themselves as to what exactly is happening and what processes are causing this. So,
awesome. Thank you so much, Jared. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about Commercial Crew 2018 and what's going on in 2018. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Look into her face, determination in her eyes. She won't give up or quit or fall for little fashion lies. Filled with awesome expectation. This girl's a fascination. And nothing in her way will keep her from her destination. 'Cause she's fire walking. She's fire walking. When it's hot, she keeps on moving. Through the heat, keeps on improving. Yeah, she's fire walking. She's fire walking to be free.
And Tomorrow continues. Now, before we get into our main topic this week, a shout out to all of the patrons of Tomorrow who've helped to make this specific segment of this episode happen. These are people who've contributed $10 or more to this specific episode. We also have our Orbital subscribers. These are people who've contributed $5 or more to this specific episode. To find out how you can help crowdfund the shows of Tomorrow, head on over to patreon.com/TMRO. All right, so for the main topic this week, we're going to be talking Commercial Crew 2018, as well as some of our predictions into 2018. I'm actually going to hand this baton over to Jared because both Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, and myself are remote, which makes it a little bit hard for me to maintain this. So, Jared, take it away.
So we've got a lot of things coming up in 2018, and probably the most exciting for us is the hopeful payoff of the Commercial Crew Program. Now, this is something that NASA started quite a while ago, and when NASA actually started the Commercial Crew Development Program, there were a lot of question marks. There were a lot of, is this actually going to work? Can private companies actually step in and provide cargo and crew transportation to the International Space Station? And now that we're quite a ways along in the Commercial Crew Program, we actually have the answers, which is that, yes, private companies can do cargo, and it would appear that everything is set for 2018 to be the year where private companies also start taking people, crews, to the International Space Station as well. And I'm going to go ahead and ask Tim Dodd a little bit if he can give us just a brief little background about some of the things that we're kind of looking forward to in 2018 with Commercial Crew.
Well, let me give just real quick set the stage here. Don't forget, for those of you that don't know, the two people that have won contracts to send humans to the International Space Station from Florida, so from the United States for the first time since 2011, is Boeing with their CST-100 Starliner, and that will ride on top of a ULA Atlas V rocket. And then SpaceX has their Dragon capsule, their version 2, which is their first crewed version, and then that will be riding on, of course, on top of their mighty Falcon 9, which does everything for them. So, so those are the two people that will be sending people to the International Space Station. And so far, we've had some. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I actually didn't remind myself all this stuff, so I'm just going off the top of the old brain, which might not be the best idea, but. So far, SpaceX in 2015 did their launch abort system test with their using Super Dracos, which are mounted to the sides of the Dragon capsule. So we have that out of the way. They've also done some parachute qualification testing. Boeing has done parachute qualification testing. And I think Boeing still has to do their launch abort and their in-flight launch abort. So does SpaceX. Those are some things we're going to be seeing. What else? What else do we need to talk about as far as what I guess we need to see 7 flights of the upgraded Falcon 9 before they consider putting people on it, I believe, because they don't want it to be changed recently and then put people on top of it. So we have to have 7 flights of the Block 5 Falcon 9 as well before we see people get on board. What else do we need? What else is there?
So like a week and a half worth of flights then?
At this rate, yeah.
Thereabouts.
No, I think that's part of the point. I think we're due to conflict of interest, I can't talk about SpaceX very much here, but I think that's part of the point is that both SpaceX and Boeing are very, very close to being able to send crew from American soil back up to the International Space Station. And while we have long talked about this on the show as one of those pivotal moments, 2018 seems to be the year where this is all going to happen. It's going to be very, 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 very cool and very, very exciting. I'm curious as to who's going to go first. Currently, it looks like SpaceX is going to go first, but Boeing's a little more secretive, or at least a little bit harder to get some of the scheduling information out of Boeing. So I'm not entirely sure where they're at in some of their demo stuff. But it's going to be very awesome to watch some of these new pivotal things. And when you look at what this enables in the future, it's not just sending humans to the International Space Station. It's then using this technology to send humans further than low Earth orbit, something that we haven't done since the 70s, going to the moon and then eventually going to Mars and beyond, as the old Constellation slogan used to be. So I think that's what I'm excited for, and I think that's kind of what we're looking forward to in 2018. Yeah, and
just to kind of talk about the schedules real quick, just to kind of remind everybody of it. Boeing's current schedule with Starliner says that they're going to do an unmanned test flight in June of 2018. They'll then do a crewed test flight in August of 2018, and then their first contracted crew delivery, known as USCV-1, which I believe stands for United States Crew Vehicle 1, is tentatively scheduled for December of 2018. Now, for SpaceX, with Dragon version 2. They're scheduled for an uncrewed test flight in February of 2018. They will have a in-flight abort test at Max Q sometime around April 2018. And then following this, they're going to do a crewed test flight to the International Space Station no earlier than June of 2018. So those are kind of the timelines of things. 2018, as we were saying, is sort of going to be that year when everything finally comes together with this. And it's really great to see this happening because the commercial services contracts began back in 2006. So this program has been going for a decade now. And it was originally just for cargo, and then they added on crew right around 2010. That's when the crew development began with commercial with, I believe it was specifically called CC Dev at that time, commercial crew development. We've got all these incredible milestones going to be happening this year, and we actually do have a question from the chat room from Lur, which is that isn't in-flight launch abort optional as a test? Can either of you speak to that as to whether in-flight abort is a option or if it's a requirement for commercial crew?
From what I know, I think they're right. I think it actually is optional. I don't know why I think that, but that's a great question. Actually, if anybody in the chat room does know the answer for sure, let us know. But that is going to be a really exciting test to watch because I don't know if anyone watched. Blue Origin did a kind of a similar in-flight abort test of their new Shepard. It was really cool, especially as we have reusable boosters, to see the capsule pull away and abort and land safely, but so did the first stage booster. And I don't know, and we can't promise anything like that for sure with SpaceX when they do their launch abort flight, but there is the chance that they will be able to recover and safely land both the Dragon capsule and the Falcon 9 first stage, which would just be so insanely epic. I want that to happen. But don't plan on it because don't forget the vehicle. That's the point where the aerodynamic pressure is at its absolute peak. So as soon as you take the aerodynamic capsule off of that rocket, all of a sudden now that first stage is experiencing with the inner stage all of the aerodynamic forces. So there's a really, really, really good chance that it'll just rip the stage apart, which sucks that you're going to have a multi-million-dollar piece of hardware getting thrown away, just like the old days. Back in my day, we threw rockets away. But it just goes to show how quickly we're seeing this stuff change, and it's just like unfathomable that we're going to just throw a whole first stage away. But that is what SpaceX plans to do, and they most likely will lose that first stage. But if they don't, it will be amazing, and I can't wait. So.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about a research paper that actually came out this week, which talked about the commercial cargo, specifically commercial cargo from the Commercial Crew Development Program, which basically said that comparing cost to space shuttle, commercial cargo has saved a ton of money. The study showed that with shuttle, which carried a multi-purpose logistics module to take cargo like what orbital ATK Cygnus and SpaceX's Dragon send up to the space station, it was $272,000 US dollars per kilogram in order to send it up on shuttle. But with orbital ATK Cygnus, it's $135,000 per kilogram. So it's half that. It's half that cost. With SpaceX, it's $89,000 per kilogram. So it's almost, it's literally 1/3 of the cost that shuttle was with getting that cargo up there. Obviously, you don't carry the tremendous amount of cargo that the space shuttle could carry in a single flight, but you're literally halving and thirding the cost with it, and that really shows a great benefit for the commercial cargo program that was done, and it shows that this program is a huge success for NASA and everything that it gets to work with, and now we get to see how much it'll cost to start sending people to the International Space Station, which, correct me if I'm wrong here, either of you, which if I recall right now is about, I want to say $72 million per seat on the Russian Soyuz spacecraft. I want to say that's
I thought it went up over 80 million at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's somewhere
Per seat.
ballpark in that area, where it's a little expensive in order to send people. Literally, as we like to say, it's literally your weight in gold is how much it costs to send a person to the International Space Station on the Soyuz. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how much the costs for Starliner and Dragon version 2 are going to be with that as well. So should be particularly interesting with that. So go ahead, Ben.
So here's another thing. Go ahead, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut.
Okay, well, and don't forget, we're currently talking about current cost savings. And one of the things about the space shuttle that ended up kind of killing it in the long run is how it took us so long to really realize the true cost of refurbishment and all the man hours behind every single flight, you know. And we have a pretty darn good understanding of how much it costs to launch crew or cargo and soon crew. But the big thing is we're not even including reusing the boosters yet, such as the Falcon 9. Of course, the Boeing plan with the Atlas V will not include any reuse. The Atlas V is a fully expendable vehicle. But imagine in a couple years, again, NASA is obviously experiencing a fair amount of confidence in SpaceX's reusability, since they will be using a reused Falcon 9 on their next cargo mission, CRS-13. They're going to be using a reused booster. So I would love to see, you know, if they can start doing that with people, it'll bring the cost down even more. And we're going to see that finally start to play out. And that's awesome. So I think the cost savings will just become more and more and more apparent. So I would love to see it almost come down by a factor of 10 from the space shuttle. I don't know exactly if we'll get there, but for sure we can make a big improvement from even a third. So,
and if I can derail this ever so slightly, you know, we were talking about commercial crew, but I think another thing that's going to happen in 2018, and this is pure speculation, but I think we might start seeing Virgin Galactic flying humans into space. Now, maybe not paying customers, but at least having a human cross that boundary and making it into space. And that could be kind of a game changer as well. And what we're seeing is all of these different types of companies putting humans into space and helping to drive these costs down. So, you know, we're talking earlier about, you know, what it costs today, which is radically less than what it costs in shuttle. But as we look at these new technologies going up there, these different ways of doing things, we can see these costs come down even further. Now, you know, Virgin Galactic is not a orbital company, so we're not going to see a Spaceship 2 make it to the International Space Station, but we can start to see maybe some of that technology blend into other things that enables something else to help reduce those costs. So I think that's going to be exciting for 2018 as well, assuming that's correct, right? You know, I have no inside information there. It's, you know, we've been saying this for a long, like every year since this show's been on, we're like, this is the year, but it feels more real this time.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback on that a little bit because there are a lot of experiments that are wanting to be done by colleges that either require more time in microgravity than you can get in a drop chamber, which is somewhere about 3 to 4 seconds, but they don't necessarily want to put it in a CubeSat to launch on a rideshare into space, because that may end up being too expensive for what they actually want to do. So a company like Virgin Galactic, which will give you a microgravity environment for, I think, something like 5 minutes, that may end up sort of adding a little bit of a revolution towards studies of what we can do, because not every experiment is going to require you know, you to go all the way to orbit to get a microgravity environment. Sometimes you just want to do some things. I remember, was it Blue Origin who flew basically like a box of rocks on one of their flights? And yeah, and like a lot of people were sort of joking about the box of rocks flying around and seeing how
I don't remember the box of rocks.
They showed an experiment that was I don't know exactly what it was, but it was some kind of college experiment that had like some kind of collision experiment with a bunch of rocks, and they did it for, I think, for for free or as some kind of demonstration of what they can do for colleges and stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, and that is sort of an area where we're looking at how rocks on the surfaces of asteroids would interact. Areas with really low surface gravity, which is something that's not particularly well understood, which you need more than 3 to 4 seconds in a drop chamber for, but you don't need to put a box of rocks in orbit in order to test out in microgravity what they're going to do. So this to me, that is where the real suborbital space flight, that's where the real revolution is going to come in being able to do studies like that. So, do you have something, Ben? We both got something to say.
Well, I was going to say, to be fair, it's not just 3 to 4 seconds because you can do a parabolic flight, and that's going to give you a microgravity environment for longer than 3 to 4 seconds. But it's not a very long time. I know Vac's done a bunch, and I don't remember what it is, but it's like less than 30 seconds, more than 10, so it's somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and did you have something to say, Tim?
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Ben said earlier, we're looking at going from no launches from the United States that are carrying people into space at all, like literally zero, to all of a sudden having for sure SpaceX hopefully by the end of the year, we can't say for sure until it happens because there's always potential for delays, and Boeing and Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin is very soon behind. I think they're saying 2019 for Blue Shepard, but we're going to be within, all of a sudden, I think from the first time that we start sending people into space, within about a year time frame, I bet there's going to be about 4 companies sending people to space, which just is going to be crazy. The amount of, the public interest that's going to come out of that is going to be great when we actually start sending people on top of, rockets from the United States into space. It's just going to be a huge media storm. And to me, that's awesome. Just we have it's all happening kind of all at the same time within a 1-year window-ish. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Tim, did you call it Blue Glenn? Did you call it Blue Glenn?
I'm sure I did. I have no idea what I said. Blue Glenn sounds super cool.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Origin Buster.
So Dan TC24 in the chat room has a very interesting question that we're talking about here, which is that testing vehicles and systems has to be expensive. Are the contractors expected to foot the bill for these, or do the development milestones include compensatory, boy, I blew that one, funding to offset this cost? Who wants to talk to this one? Who wants to talk about that? So Tim is pointing at Ben.
No, all right, yeah. So the contracts, it's not cost plus, meaning it's not one of those things where you say this is what our costs are, and if you want to add on more things, it's going to cost you more, so you're incentivized to make it as expensive as possible. It's milestones based for these COTS and different programs. So basically, you have certain milestones you have to meet. When you meet that milestone, you get some money. Now, how much it cost you yourself, what your expenses were to get to that milestone, that's not the responsibility of the government. That's the company's responsibility, be it Orbital ATK, SpaceX, whoever else is competing, right? Pick any company. Mm-hmm. So Boeing would be, actually in this case, would be SpaceX and Boeing. So if SpaceX or Boeing spends more money to meet milestone A than they make on milestone A, that was them needing to spend more money. If they spend less money, that's them needing to spend less money. But when they meet the milestone, they get the reward pot. I'm not sure what to call that, but they get the milestone funds at that point.
They get the bonus. So yay, you did.
Yeah, exactly.
You did the thing. Here's some cash. So kind of how it goes.
Mm-hmm. You did the thing. You get. Yeah, that's exactly correct. And then once they're done, so you've got these milestones to get you to a flyable point, and then it's like, okay, neat. Consider it a taxi service, right? So now I want to send 3 astronauts up to the International Space Station. You grab Uber and you say, send 3 astronauts to space station. It says, cool, that's going to cost you however much money, 10 million, 20 million, I don't know what it costs. So it's going to cost you that much, Apple Pay, and off you go. But they don't get to charge necessarily more or less. It's kind of it's a taxi service at that point.
So it's a commercial Kruber, if you will.
Commercial Kruber, yes.
For lack of a
That's
better
the shirt
term.
for the show, yeah.
So we've got a question from Jim Burr on YouTube, actually, which is predictions on, I'm assuming that's a sort of a typo of Bezos, starting space tourism.
No, I'm Benzos. It's me. I'm Benzos, and I'm starting a space tour in Tsukoku.
You're Benzos. Okay. So does everybody kind of want to do their predictions on what's going to happen with space tourism in 2018? I mean, should we just start with you, Ben, and then go to Tim Dodd, and then I'll say something? So.
Sure. Yes, I think, well, I don't know if Blue Origin, Bezos, so Blue Origin, will be ready for space tourism in 2018. Although it does feel, man, they're really hard because they're very secretive. So even in their more open state, they're still very secretive. So we really don't have a whole lot of information as to what's going on there. I have little doubt that Blue Origin is working to send humans to space in very large numbers to live and work in space, right? They are working to open up cislunar space, and they're working diligently to make that happen. What year that happens will that be 2018? I don't know. I would no longer be surprised by anything Blue Origin does. So if Blue Origin tomorrow said, we're going to launch humans to the moon and set up a colony in a week, I'd be like, cool, I'll buy that. Right? That's the point I'm at with Blue Origin. So I'm hopeful that they do something in 2018. I would love to see humans living and working in space in 2018. But on Blue Origin's timelines, what are they, the tortoise in this, the tortoise versus the hare, they're slow and steady and methodical. Yeah, exactly. So they're very methodical on what they do. And I think they're going to very much so take their time, make sure it's like they want it to be, and they'll go when they're good and ready to go. So whether that's 2018, 2019, 2020, I think I'd be lean closer to 2020 for them. But I really have no data on Blue Origin whatsoever. So it's near impossible for me to actually predict.
Mm-hmm. Tim Dodd.
Yeah. Let me answer a few questions because I'm not entirely sure if Jim Burr's question was about the starting date or the price. He just says on Benzo starting space tourism. We know that Jeff Bezos and the New Shepard is their space tourism little capsule. We know that that's pretty much ready to go. I don't actually understand because they've flown that thing 5 times with huge success. And I don't really know why they're waiting more than a year. It sounds like 2019 is when they're going to start accepting flights on their New Shepard. At what price, we have no idea. My guess, I'm thinking they're going to want to undercut Virgin Galactic, and Virgin Galactic comes in at $250,000 per seat. So I'm thinking it'd be really cool if we could see them around $100,000 or something a lot less expensive, just to really poke at the space industry and say, here's what we can do it for. Especially with their system, in theory, it might only cost the cost of fuel. And a few other checkouts and all that stuff. But it seems like the New Shepard does not require much refurbishment. It seems like a really solid system. So my prediction is I don't think we'll see space tourism with them until 2019. And then on top of that, I would like to think it's going to be cheaper than $250,000 per seat. And then my next prediction is as far as the living, working in space thing that Ben was talking about, their New Glenn, their orbital class rocket, which is huge. I mean, this thing is Saturn V size, basically. Is not slated to go online until 2020. They are working very hard. Their factory's almost online already out there at Kennedy Space Center. You can see this huge factory, multi-billion-dollar facility. They're not, like, when they say they're going to do this, they're definitely going to do this. There's no doubt that they're not just going to pull out and be like, never mind. They've invested already into it. They've been hot firing the main engine for that. Yeah, they're getting really, that's coming along. But again, I think their thing is like slow footsteps or something, but ferociously, or slow but ferociously something that's their motto. So I love that. And to me, that's a very, very cool thing. So so I don't entirely know for sure if it's going to be, so 2019 is my prediction for New Shepard. 2020, they'll start launching New Glenn. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start putting people on top of New Glenn very soon after it starts flying, like 2021.
Yeah, and
Gradium Ferociter.
What was that, Ben?
And what's that mean?
It's Gradium Ferociter. It's basically gradual with what is it? Gradual with force, like forcefully forward, something like that.
Nice. That's a pretty good one. I like it. Gradually, ferociously, Tarantula says in the chat room. So pretty good there. And I'm not in disagreement with either of you on this. It's like you said, Ben. They're very secretive, so there's not a lot of information that trickles out of Blue Origin. They have recently been a lot more open in talking about things, but overall they are sort of the Blue project, if you will, of the commercial space world. They, I know New Glenn was kind of predicted, but when they announced it also kind of came out of nowhere, as well. So I'm kind of
like,
oh, go ahead.
They very
Tim.
much do something, and then they're like, by the way, we did this like 3 days ago. It's no big deal. I mean, when they landed the New Shepard, I don't think anyone really realized that was technically, I mean, I don't want to get into the debate versus the Falcon 9's orbital dynamics and what it's all doing compared to the New Shepard. But they technically crossed the line, the Kármán line, with a booster, liquid fuel booster, and landed it vertically just a few weeks before SpaceX did. I mean, similar thing, but they did it, and then they told everyone like a day or two later with a really well-produced video. No one had any idea this happened. All of a sudden, everyone's just like, wait, you did what? And you didn't tell us? You didn't invite the media? You didn't do anything? They're just like, oh, yeah, we did that. And then, oh, we did it again. Oh, yeah, we did it again. They just keep, and finally, I think it was the last live stream, the most risky one, the launch abort. They're like, oh, yeah, you can join in on our live stream. We're going to live stream this one. But I don't think up until then, maybe it's the fourth one, they may have live streamed that one as well. But before that, they were just super, yeah, we did this. Here you go. Watch it. Have fun.
Yeah, they did live stream a couple of them.
Yeah, Dutta's got a nice funny comment here, which is, our super edited video of our last test flight will be out tomorrow. We tested last Thursday. So
yeah. Well, that was, to be fair, that's very old school Blue Origin. The newer version of Blue Origin was like, as they were kind of doing more of those test flights, they were airing them live. We did get to see them live, and we even got to see their launch abort or launch escape test, where the capsule broke away from the booster. And I expected the booster, the aerodynamic stresses on the booster, to just rip it apart. Yeah. But instead, like they flew apart, and then I watched as the booster started coming back to Earth, and immediately I created the hashtag Team Booster on Twitter, because I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, I think Blue Origin is, when they're ready to show you stuff, they'll show it to you in a really great and grand way. But if they're not, then you don't get to peek behind the curtain at all until they're ready to show you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So going to the chat room from Rebel Ace Friesland. So how many people will be in space at one time in 2018? 5 or more? How many people do you think are going to be in space maximum in 2018?
Well, we normally have 7 on station, don't we?
6. We have 6 on station. Right,
6.
Like right now, we have 6 on the International Space Station, and that's its max capacity at the moment. So,
plus, there's a chance next year we'll have 2 more taikonauts. You know, at any moment there might be 2 taikonauts on either their upcoming space station or just on one of their spacecraft. So there's 8. Plus, anytime there's space tourism, if those 2 things happen to align, you could be up to 10. You know, SpaceX will be, I think, just launching 2, maybe 3 astronauts on their first flight, but that will be a standard rotation of the International Space Station, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're going to have more than 6 during those rotations. Although they take 3 up to 9, right? Or did they go down first?
My present understanding of the International Space Station crew expansion will be that when U.S. commercial vehicles are flying astronauts there, the crew will expand from 6 to 7. So they're going to add on 1 more astronaut, and 4 U.S. astronauts will rotate out at a time with that. Okay. So, or not necessarily U.S. astronauts, but basically the 4 astronauts that rode the U.S. crew vehicle up are going to rotate out.
Right.
And I can see us having 10 people in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to throw some of these things out, which are some of the stuff that's actually coming up, if you will, in 2018. which is that the SpaceX, the rumored flight from SpaceX to fly two paying customers on a free return trajectory around the moon is sometime. It's last we heard late 2018. I know you cannot touch this, Ben, so don't say anything. But Tim, what do you think?
I think that already got pushed to 2019.
Okay.
I feel like that kind of went in somewhere. I have that in my head that it already is 2019. I don't know why I think that, but I feel like I heard a pretty solid statement that they were waiting for something. And again, the Falcon Heavy will have to fly several times before they throw. And Dragon. I don't think they're going to send a Dragon capsule up on a second human flight out to the moon. You know, I think they'll want that to be a little bit further along in qualification testing as well. So.
Yeah, and kind of to take a question from the chat room and hand it to you, Tim, because you can't, Ben, you can't touch this. From Angry Young
I'll sit here. I'll just sit here.
Yeah, just sit there and look pretty. From Angry Young Spaceman. To Tim Dodd, because Ben can't touch it. So when is the projected first launch of Falcon 9 Block 5?
Yeah, we don't know for sure. One of the things that we're hearing and thinking is that we're probably going to see it be the first test of the Dragon 2 as well. That's kind of some of the things we're starting to hear. So that would probably put it sometime maybe February, kind of spring, late winter, early spring, whatever the next thing is after winter. So it's looking like probably February, March-ish. And it sounds like it's going to be very obvious when it happens. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a pretty big change compared to Block 4. So I think, like I said, if it all goes well, it sounds like it'll be the first flight of Dragon 2. So just keep your eyes out for that. People will probably be literally stalking the booster and literally stalking the Dragon 2 capsule and having an exact map and GPS coordinates of where it is at all times, because that's the internet.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard three possibilities for what flight could be the first flight of Block 5. I've heard the first flight of Dragon 2 could be the first flight. I've also heard that the in-flight abort for Dragon 2 could be it. I've also heard that the Iridium launch carrying the reduced number of satellites plus the Grace follow-on mission may also be the first out of Vandenberg. So throw it in the air and let's see what lands, I guess, is kind of how we're going to do this. So
to talk about Block 5 with the launch abort, I don't think that would be the case, because I don't think the launch abort will be on a full stack. I'm guessing launch abort will be on some form of first stage only, because they don't need the upper stage. This happens at max Q, which is around 1 minute of flight. Although it actually might be hard to get the exact right period of max Q with a smaller vehicle. I don't know how all that works. But I don't think they're going to need an upper stage and all that stuff. So it seems silly to me if you're just doing a 1 minute flight and to have an upper stage on it and waste that hardware as well, because that can't be recovered. There is no recovery of the upper stage. So it'd be weird to me if they flew Block 5 with just the first stage of it for the first time. That'd be a strange first flight of Block 5, in my opinion. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll find out eventually. Also, a abort flight for Orion is supposed to happen in 2018 as well. They're using a modified Peacekeeper ballistic missile in order to test out some systems on Orion during an abort with that. Also, in planetary expo. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I just had a real quick question. I've looked for this answer and I can't really find it. And if somebody knows, how is Dream Chaser's abort system? Is it also a pusher system? So to clarify my question for those that don't know, normally we see a launch abort tower, say on the Mercury capsule, the Apollo capsule. There's an actual tower that is on top of the capsule and Orion has a launch abort tower. In case something happens, it pulls the capsule away and then it jettisons itself and then the parachutes come out. SpaceX's Dragon 2 has the launch abort motors on the side walls of the Dragon capsule, and I can't quite figure out what Boeing's doing. I feel like they have launch abort motors that are also mounted that are on the bottom edge of it, but I can't actually find solid stuff. Dutta says tractor rockets. I thought for Boeing. what are tractor rockets? My dad worked for John Deere. I don't remember him having anything to do with rocket engines ever.
Right, it's called tractor rockets. It's like the Gemini and Apollo launch escape systems.
Yeah, the launch escape system where you have the motor on top of it. So it's like a tractor. It pulls it away. A pusher system is anything on the bottom. That's sort of what, for what I know, Dragon 2, Starliner, and Dream Chaser will have. So as far as I know, Dream Chaser will have a pusher system with that as well. And then just a
tower. I haven't seen any renderings of a tower or any kind of system on the CST-100. Have you guys? Maybe I'm just totally missing it, and I'm a Dumbo. But anybody?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. So as far as I know, it's a pusher.
I haven't either. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's a pusher system for Starliner. But if we're wrong, someone in the comments will absolutely correct us. That's for sure. Also, just want to say real quick, in planetary exploration, what we have coming up in 2018, NASA's InSight Seismology lander is going to launch and land on Mars in 2018. The European Space Agency and JAXA, Japan's space agency, they're going to be launching Bepi Colombo to Mercury. That's going to take 10 years to get to Mercury. But it's not going to take 10 years, but the mission's going to last 10 years. It takes a really long time to get to Mercury. It's going to take it 8 years to get there. In addition to that, we have 2 asteroid sampling missions. They're going to arrive at their respective targets. Hayabusa 2 is going to arrive at Ryugu, which is an asteroid. It's going to take samples. It's also going to drop an explosive on the asteroid and detonate it, and then look at the fresh material
kill
on
it.
So, yeah, it should be fun. And then OSIRIS-REx, our favorite backronym, is going to be arriving at asteroid Bennu, not Benny, Bennu. And it'll be taking probably a couple of kilograms worth of material from the surface for return here on Earth in 2023. China, just as secretive as Blue Origin in some cases, it's going to be launching Chang'e 4 lander rover. As far as I know, that has not changed, even with the failure of the Long March and their heavy lift rocket as well. That is a lander rover that is being repurposed to attempt the first ever soft landing on the far side of the moon. In addition to that, China is also slated to launch their core module for their Chinese space station, the first of 3 very large modules. But of course, there's not a lot of news that comes out of China. They're even more secretive than Blue Origin, if that's possible. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. So I guess just to wrap up the segment, any final thoughts from you guys? Because my final thoughts are basically that 2018 is going to be really, really awesome, and I'm so excited to see a decade's worth of work finally coming to full fruition and actually going to be seeing astronauts head to the International Space Station on commercial vehicles. And I'm very interested to see who's going to get the American flag that's on board of the space station and bring it back for those bragging rights that was left by Atlantis on the STS-135 mission. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. How about you guys?
Well, real quick, it looks like Greta has...
Go ahead, Tim. Let's do Tim.
Slide for us ready. Look at this. He found a picture of the launch abort escape system for the CST-100 Starliner, for Boeing Starliner. So it is a pusher system. Yeah, there it is. Now we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those engines are part of the service module as well. So they get used for some stuff on orbit. So
there we go. Now we know. That's great. Ben, you had some thoughts to finish up on.
No, I was just going to say I agree with Jared. I think 2018 is going to be an epic year for space nerds. We've got a lot of stuff that's happening, and there's going to be a lot more. This is just the stuff that we know of. The stuff that's going to be announced in 2018 is going to, by all of the companies in new space, is going to be really quite awesome. And the thing to also not forget is that United Launch Alliance is working on Vulcan, and so hopefully we'll hear more announcements on Vulcan coming in there as well. So a lot of really amazing things coming up in 2018, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, and especially with the science, I'm like super stoked about everything that we're going to be doing. So I cannot wait. It's so good stuff. It's such good stuff. Also, apparently we have something from the chat room just to close it out with. What does it say? Dutta.
Dutta is wrong.
All right, Dutta is wrong. A very rare Dutta is wrong.
Let me have my closing thoughts, Jared.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, everyday astronaut. Go ahead and take it away. I thought you said, and then you like deloped to Ben or something. So go ahead.
No, because I talked about CST 100.
Okay.
I am now going to talk about my exciting thoughts of 2018.
All right, take it away, Tim.
I officially think that 2018, just to echo what Ben said, 2017 was a great year for spaceflight. We just saw a lot of launches. The cadence for 2018 all around the board seems to be increasing. There seems to be just a lot of things happening. We'll be seeing Falcon Heavy flying, hopefully fairly routinely. Hopefully we'll get a couple flights of Falcon Heavy. We'll be getting probably about 30 flights of Falcon 9, up from the 18 to 20-ish this year, depending on how everything ends up going. And then we're going to be seeing humans flying into space again in 2018. I can't wait. It's been so long for all this stuff coming, so it's just all going to come to fruition in 2018. And the future's just looking super bright from here on out. Because once the stuff's online, it's not going to slow down. It's a new system in place that's just going to keep going. So it's happening.
Awesome. So we hope you're looking forward to 2018 just as much as we are looking forward to 2018 as well. So thank you guys for this wonderful discussion that we had about next year, this year, now, on tomorrow. So speaking of more tomorrow, when we come, we're going to take a quick break real quick. And when we come back, your comments from last week's show. So stay tuned. There's more tomorrow right after this.
We've always looked to the stars. They guide us, give us comfort, help us find our way. We see ourselves out there. When we look up, it inspires us. And we long for something we don't yet know. We yearn to go there. So, we venture forth.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not.
Many think we stopped exploring. But we know our journey didn't end. We've only just begun.
Orion is functioning perfectly at this point.
Come with us and explore tomorrow.
I cry every time. So, welcome back to our final segment of the show where we talk about your comments from last week. But before we get to those, we want to thank a large majority of our supporters that we have, because we are a crowd-funded show. So we want to thank our Escape Velocity Patreon supporters. These folks give us $10 or more for the show. They get a lot of stuff. You can go to patreon.com/TMRO in order to take a look at what you get. We also have our Orbital patrons. These folks give us $5 or more for this this show that we get to do here. But wait, we also have our suborbital patrons, and I love that this is getting we're getting so many suborbital patrons now. The text is really, really tiny, and you're going to have to stop and take the time in order to see your name there. Don't forget, grab your permanent marker, circle your name on your monitor there as well. You get your name during the third segment of the show, exclusive access to a multitude of things. And as we said, we are a crowd-funded show, so we do these shows because of what you allow us to do. You enable us to make these shows possible. We can't do it without you guys and the incredible support that the Tomorrow community gives gives us. So if you would like to help crowdfund the shows of tomorrow, head on over to patreon.com/TMRO. Hashtag forever grateful to all of you who definitely help us out. And even, as you mentioned, Ben, subscribing to us and liking our videos and other things like that is a huge help to us as well. And I'm always just, I cannot believe just how awesome our community is. It always blows me away every time I sit and think about it.
And civil too. Civil.
Yeah, it's really a very good group of people in our community. And if I keep talking, I'm going to cry, and it's not going to end well for everyone. So let's go ahead and move on. Talking about last week's show, Orbit 10.41, about the incredible Brooke Owens Fellowship Program. This is where we talk to your comments from last week's show. So would you like me to be Capcom today? Okay, I will be Capcom today.
No.
Or you want to do
Well,
it?
that's actually all right. I'll Capcom, and then I'll toss it to you at the end. We clearly planned this well in advance.
Yes.
All right. So our first comment comes from YouTube. It's from Thomas M., who says, "I'd really like to see if SpaceX can land 3 first-stage rockets. This would be an awesome and a sight to behold." Yeah, I can't talk to that, but Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut.
Yes, that will be. And we're going to hopefully see that here by the end of the year. So wait another 6 or 7 weeks, and hopefully you're going to see exactly that. Of course, if you're out in Florida to watch the Falcon, and this is in reference to Falcon Heavy, which will be 3 first stages basically scrapped together. If you're in Florida, you'll only see the first 2 land, the 2 side cores. Most likely, depending on, unless they do some crazy flight profile where the first boosters do something crazy different. But for the most part, it sounds like the side boosters will do return to launch site, and the center core will end up being very far downrange on the, of course, they still have a drone ship. So, yeah, we're going to see 3 boosters land within a 10-minute window of each other very soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, not only is that going to be really
and hear
cool.
them too.
Yeah, I was about to say, not only is that going to be really cool to see, it's going to be loud with that happening as well. And then we can have another big debate. Was it 3 sonic booms, or was it 9 sonic booms, or was it 6 sonic booms? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll figure that out, right?
It'll end up being 5, and everyone will be like, "Wait, how can it be 5?"
Hey, hang on. This is something that I just thought of. I just want to bring it up quick. The boosters, if they're 100, 200 feet away, will there be certain areas where the sound waves will crest and be like twice as loud as other places, like in geographic location,
or twice as quiet?
That's true.
And or twice as quiet.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
places
Very good
where you
point,
might almost be completely mute, and then your neighbor's house will be flattened by the sound waves. That would be crazy.
Did you all hear that? No, I didn't. So yeah, it's gonna be really great.
Right. Why did you have your "there's a gator in the toilet again" voice on?
Because it's Florida. So that's my. I've never been to Florida.
Moving on.
That's why I think. Okay, yeah, let's keep going.
YouTube, Scott says, "Mars is not hostile. You're hostile. No, you are simply not a Martian. Earth is hostile from a Mars perspective." Jared, I'll pass that one over to you. I thought that was an interesting way of looking at things.
Yeah, I mean, Mars sucks. Even to send electronics to, Mars absolutely sucks. It's dusty, and the regolith that makes up the dust on Mars is very fine, so it can get through just about every crack you can possibly try to seal up. In addition to that, the average surface temperature of Mars is about negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I would use Celsius, but I can't remember what the Celsius is off the top of my head. Shame to me. For that, it gets really cold at night. Also, a fun fact I learned just a couple of weeks ago is that because of Mars's very thin atmosphere, the temperature differential from your feet to your head is immense. It's something like 120 degrees Celsius. It could be like 75 Fahrenheit at your feet, and it'll be minus 150 Fahrenheit at your head. It's ridiculous, and I didn't even think about that with that there. But Earth also sucks as well, because think about it, if we dropped you with like no supplies on just basically like the clothes on your back somewhere on Earth, most of the areas we would drop you on Earth, you'd be dead within a day or two. So Earth really sucks too. So, doggone it, all these planets just suck. It's not good places to go.
And on YouTube, Hayua says, that is true. There are 100% more bear attacks on Earth.
That's right. That's right. You know, there's a very good graphic that shows a green area highlighting where bear attacks occur, and in Mercury and Venus there is 0% probability. At Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, there's 0% probability. But if you go to Earth, there's a 100% probability for bear attacks. Yeah.
Don't forget, you'll be vastly outnumbered by robots when you land on Mars.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty good chance of a robot attack on Mars.
Yeah, there could be. Mars, I can't disagree. Mars is the only planet currently entirely inhabited by robots. So, yeah.
That's the shirt for the show. All right. Last comment comes from Joseph off of Patreon. So thank you very much for being a patron. A very practical question regarding SpaceX point-to-point. Couldn't they slow down above atmosphere to subsonic speeds? It would still be 1,200 kilometers an hour and come through the atmosphere, so the last 100 kilometers of travel would be slow enough to avoid a sonic boom. I'm getting shaking head no from Jared. Also, I'm going to pass this to Dutta as well, because Dutta's really well versed in sonic booms and whatnot.
Yeah. So should we let Dutta answer this?
Hold on, I gotta push buttons.
He's pressing buttons. We're going to the empty. There's no one. It feels so lonely in there right now.
It does, man. It's like quiet. I don't think that's possible because of how physics works.
Yeah.
You would expend so much fuel. You would have to have like an insane amount of delta V in order to be able to accomplish that. So if this is a tiny little Earth and you want to go from this side here to this side here, you shoot kind of this way-ish and falling towards Earth, and gravity kind of gets you over to this side. In order to do something like that, you would have to make a much greater parabolic arc, and then you would have to do some sort of deceleration thing to stop your rotation around the Earth, and then just like stop right there and then be able to fall towards Earth on that side. And the delta V requirements for that are kind of insane and unrealistic. So I don't think that that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. Go ahead, Tim. Take it, Tim.
Well, even if you don't go on a higher parabolic arc, you'll essentially have to go into orbit, or very close to it, literally with only a couple hundred meters per second within orbital speeds, and then still have enough delta V to slow down to subsonic, basically, before you reach the atmosphere. And then, not only that, you still have to go through the atmosphere, which you'll be falling again, so you're going to be going from, say, 100 kilometers in altitude, subsonic. You'll have to keep that speed, so you have to be basically hovering that whole time to stay subsonic all the way through the remainder of the atmosphere, which is an insane amount of fuel, an insane amount of delta V to do that. So I don't think there is, but that being said, there might be a little tiny bit of margin to slow down a little bit more, a little bit higher, and help alleviate a little bit of those sonic booms, but that's total speculation. I really have no idea.
Yeah, atmosphere is free deceleration, so that's the way I look at it. It's, use it to your advantage, and the more you can use the atmosphere to your advantage, the less weight you have to carry. The less weight you have to carry, the more people you can stuff in your big Falcon spaceship, and the more people you can stuff in it, the lower your costs can hopefully be for point-to-point travel. So. Yeah, you can do it. It's just that the penalty in terms of the weight of fuel that you have to carry in order to do it just makes no sense whatsoever.
You might, like, for shorter point-to-point flights where maybe you don't need so much fuel, you might be able to use a little bit of that fuel to slow yourself down just a tiny little bit and push your sonic boom window a little bit farther away from civilization. And that might be a realistic thing for certain localities. Mm-hmm. Say if you're traveling to New York or whatever, you want to come in the middle of the night and you want to push your sonic boom a couple miles further out into the ocean, you might be able to do that a little bit, but it's not going to be an appreciable difference, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all. I think that's all we got to say. So.
All right. That's our show for this week. I'd like to thank everyone so much for joining. I also want to thank our ground support patrons for helping to make this specific segment happen. These are people who've contributed between $1 and $2.49. Once again, every single dollar helps. And to find out how you can help crowdfund the shows, head on over to patreon.com/TMRO. All right, that's our show for this week. Actually, Donna is off next week, so I will be back on station, but I will be directing the show, so that show will be an absolute mess. So I definitely suggest you watch live to watch all the mistakes. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching After Dark. Up next. It's weird watching the delay of myself on the screen.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like I'll clap twice to give you an idea of the delay. So the first clap is the sync point. The second clap is when I see myself do it. So it'd be.
Also, I forgot to adjust your delay on your audio.
Okay, how bad was it?
I don't know. Do me a. It's currently 240.
It's fine. Well, it should generally be set, unless we're mucking with other things. So we're probably all right. Someone asked why I call him Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, like every single time. Because if I don't, I end up calling him Space Mike, A. And B, I just think it's hilarious to call him. And actually, I do it literally every single time, even when I'm texting him. So I'll be like, hey, Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, can I something? Every interaction I have with him is always Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, because I think it's hilarious for no other reason other than it's awesome.
And when we were at that party, and every single time you would talk, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and do you know my friend Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut? Every single time. I would love to count up the total amount of minutes of both of our lives that you've wasted doing that. It's worth it.
It's magical. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
So, Johnny Boy, they're all my segments.
Technically, they are. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I have to bail because I actually wasn't supposed to be on this show at all, but we had some last minute things that we needed to adjust. So it's interestingly enough, this week I'm actually Space Mike, not Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut. But again, hopefully we'll have Space Mike back on soon. We're just waiting on him, so whenever he's ready. On that note.
Are you still here?
Yeah, just so everyone knows, I do have to edit the show still, so it's going to go up late. It's not going to go up until early next week, so there's going to be a delay in the archive. So on that note, bye.
Bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Ooh, this was a fun one today. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this one. It was hard to deal a little bit with the latency issues, but I think we did okay.
I think that you guys were excellent with your latency issues that you had to deal with.
Yeah,
considering
you guys did not do bad at all.
There was only I can only think of 2 times where you guys started talking on top of each other, and I had to jump in and point to someone. But overall, that was amazing.
Okay,
so,
Jared, to make sure that we get you out of here on time, let's do your.
Well, we have an hour and a half, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Let's still do those things.
I mean, we can just sit here for a while and. Tim, should we do Tim's segment first?
So both of you, I think what we're gonna do is I'll do hologram full screen, and Tim, you can do your own space pod. So whatever intro is written there, kind of use that and adjust it, and then.
Oh geez, I have to do all of that. I can try.
All of that, all of the one sentence that's there.
So, but then at the end of the show, I have to say something like, On Orbit 1042, our main topic was commercial crew, right at the end. Jameson this morning, live every Saturday, 1800 UCC. You want me to do that?
We at the very end, we do want check out our last show, 1042, blah 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 blah, and then join us every Saturday at 1800 UTC. However you intro it, that's up to you. It's like a video that's going to appear midweek and
Yep. Yeah, I know what it is. I just want to make sure you want me to do it all. Is my sync okay, by the way? We didn't test for that either.
Yeah, your sync is fine.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I'm ready then. Did you notice that I said to go ahead and mute whatever video I'm playing?
I can do that.
Because it has some narration, so just keep that whole channel muted.
Okay.
I forgot to do that. Is it okay if this takes me a time or two?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to be bad at this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let me.
Yeah, take your time with it. You know, you can do as many takes as you need to. So.
Okay.
So your first one is that, yeah?
No.
That's Jared.
How did that get
That's
there?
not me.
Sorry. That should be down at like the very end. That should be the last paragraph there. This and Sierra Dream Chaser as well.
But
I don't know how that got up there.
Look at the rundown.
Can you move it, or you want me to move it?
Yeah, if you go to the rundown, that'll and update it. That'll do it. So
I got it.
Okay.
So you want China's plane first? That thing?
Yeah.
And and then the vertical SpaceX, and then X-15,
video,
X-37, and then Dream Chaser?
Yep. Is this an okay... I didn't have much to... I don't know. I was like trying to find a cool topic. Is this okay? I was thinking it could kind of be clickbaity. Like, China's new their secret space plane is getting closer to being a space plane.
Well, I mean, don't word it like that, but...
Don't you tell me how to... No.
Don't you tell me how to talk about China's secret space plane. You're not my mom. You can't tell me what to do.
No, you do you. It's your news.
Anymore? All right. Sounds good. I can give it a try.
Give Ben a big X to edit point for your intro.
Is that good? Am I going now?
Whenever you're ready.
Crap. I didn't know if there's like a intro thing that I'd see and then I start talking. I'm going to do another X.
No, so this will all be edited. We'll do a spacepod intro thing. We just need you to do your news bit. Normally, Carrie Ann goes, "Oh, there's something blah 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 blah. We didn't get to blah blah blah." Well, we don't have a Carrie Ann, so it's you.
Okay. So I think I got it. Ready? There's even more news that we didn't get to on this main topic of this week's show, Orbit 10.42, and this is about China's upcoming space plane. Now, China announced that they're working on a brand new space plane coming in 2022. It sounds like they're actually fairly far along on it. This is not an actual exact. They haven't released anything, but this is some renderings that people have been doing because not a lot of known is about their program, but the details sure are enticing. And according to Louis Shiquan, the vice director of the state-owned China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, China is developing a space plane that can take off and land horizontally. Yep, you heard that right, horizontally. So despite what all the cool kids are doing these days, like SpaceX, where they're taking off vertically, and then they will go up, straight up, and then come back down and land vertically as well, it sounds like China is working on a system to take off horizontally and then land horizontally. So this is very different than what anyone else is doing in the space industry. And so we do want to point out that even the space shuttle from the United States or Russia's Buran space plane, both of those took off vertically, but they landed horizontally. So in fact, I can't even think of any vehicle to date that has actually taken off horizontally and gone into orbit and then landed horizontally. The closest thing I can think of is the X-15 rocket plane, which took off horizontally under the wing of a B-52 bomber. But then it only kissed the edge of space and only some definitions of the edge of space. and then it landed horizontally, but it didn't get anywhere near orbital speeds. So what China sounds like they're working on will be entirely new, and they're saying by 2020 already. So I'm really excited to hear more about that. Now, don't forget, we don't really know what it will be compared to, say, the space planes that the United States is still flying, because the United States is currently flying Boeing's semi-secretive X-37B, which launches on top of an Atlas V or a Falcon 9 rocket. And then there's also Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser going online that will start delivering cargo to the International Space Station starting soon, too. So space planes aren't out yet. We obviously had the space shuttle. That's all over. But there's a new era of space planes, and China's going to be leading that front. If they can actually do something that takes off horizontally and lands horizontally, this will be huge and very, very different. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with, and hopefully we see some details come out of them. But it is China, and they're very secretive about things. So whatever we hear, we'll let you know. But I'm still really excited about a 21st century space plane. So that's it for me. On our main show, Orbit 1042, our main topic was talking about commercial crews. So if you want to check that out, make sure and go back and check out our show from this week. Also, join us live every Saturday at 1800 UTC. Make sure and like and subscribe to Tomorrow. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people.
Cool. You like it?
Little rough start there. Was it okay?
Yeah. As long as I gave you your media that you liked, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Woo!
I think so. I felt like I was a little stuttery in the beginning.
You were a little.
Yeah,
The SpaceX clip ran out before you finished talking about it.
Right, which is fine. But I can
so
do that.
It's just.
Should I give it another go?
It's just a still of return booster standing on the pad at the end.
Oh, okay. I can try the whole thing again. I felt a little better by the end of it.
You want to do it again? We can do it again.
We might as well, and then you guys can choose which one's better.
Sure thing. And I'm not involved in this, right? It's all Tim?
Correct.
Okay, cool. That confused me a lot. So.
No, I just brought it back to give Tim an out.
There's even more news that we didn't get a chance to go to on our show this week, Orbit 10.42. Okay.
You can omit mentioning 10.42 at the beginning.
Okay.
You could just go straight into it. Just make sure that you come back around to 10.42 at the end. So
okay.
If you just start out,
I should probably introduce myself since I don't have an introduction too.
It's only on screen like 4 times. It's cool. And then you cover
What's only on screen like
Everyday Astronaut.
You're right.
I mean, you could put your mug.
Video and they go,
you can put your mug to your face and make it 4.
I'll just go like this.
Who's this jabroni?
Hi, I'm here to talk on Tomorrow, TMRO. Anyway, there's some space news.
Right.
I don't know if we need to talk about it, but
I think if you cut straight into it, hey, check this out. China's setting its sights on blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Just like get into it, right?
Sounds good. All right, I'm ready. Are you ready? Am I in focus?
Ish.
Just. Of course, we notice this now.
Cool. You're focusing on your face, and then you move out of focus.
Well, I was trying to focus closer to the chair. I was more looking at how out of focus the background is.
Go back the other way just a little bit.
Just a smidgen.
Try that. Yeah, looks good.
That's pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you ready?
So an X, a 2, and get into it. Let me do this.
Are you ready?
Ready, go.
Okay. There's even more news that we didn't get to this week on Tomorrow. Orbit.
No, just do like a hey, check this out. China's getting. We don't mention 42 at the beginning. You come around to it at the end of your segment, but just like, hey, check this out. China's getting into.
You don't want me to say anything about there's more news that we didn't get to or anything?
No, space.
No.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. In a bit of exciting news, China announced that they're working on a space plane that they're hoping to put online in 2020. Now, not a lot is known about the space plane. As a matter of fact, this isn't even a picture of the exact space plane. It's more a rendering. But the details of the said space plane are extremely enticing. So according to Liu Shiquan, the vice director of the state-owned China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, China is developing a space plane that can take off and land horizontally. Yep, that's right. You heard it correctly. Horizontally. Now, despite what the rest of the industry is working on, which is vertical takeoffs and landings, such as SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket, they obviously take off vertically and then they land that same rocket vertically as well. This concept is entirely different. They're planning to take off horizontally and then land horizontally. And even the space shuttle that the United States had, or Russia's Buran space plane, that took off vertically, but that landed horizontally. So this is different. And in fact, I don't know of anything that's ever taken off horizontally and gone into orbit and then landed horizontally. The closest would be the X-15. Now, the X-15 was launched horizontally on the underside wing of a B-52 bomber. And then once it released, it would only kiss the edge of space, and only some people's definition of the edge of space. And so it didn't get anywhere near orbital speeds, but then it did land again horizontally. So what China sounds like they're working on will be an entirely new system, and I'm really excited to hear more about it. But now don't forget that space planes, even though the United States ended the space shuttle program in 2011, we still have 2 space planes, one that's currently online and one that's about to go online. The United States has the X-37B, which is a semi-secretive space plane for the Air Force. And then we also have the upcoming Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser as well. And that rides on top of, that will be riding on top of an Atlas V rocket. So again, the details aren't entirely out yet, but according to China, they're working on something really new and quite exciting by 2020. So if you want to know more about this, make sure to subscribe to TMRO. This on last week's show on Orbit 10.42, we talked about the Commercial Crew Program, so make sure and check that out if you missed it. But join us live every Saturday at 1800 UTC. Make sure and join and subscribe and like to TMRO. That does it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people.
Much better. That was awesome.
Okay, cool. All right.
How are you doing, Jared? You done, you done pooping?
The old wait for poops.
How are we doing, Jared? You done pooping?
What?
Are you done pooping?
I wasn't pooping.
Okay.
I was out gassing.
A data dump.
Oh, am I on? Excellent. Yes. All right. Fantastic.
Get
Thanks.
the toilet camera.
Thanks.
Do you want me to do something entertaining while we wait?
You're welcome.
Do you need to do jumping jacks?
So, jumping jacks. The old.
Yeah. There were some.
How I do jumping jacks.
There were definitely some densified propellants that were needing to be released. So there you go.
Solid locks.
Solid locks. Luckily, when I went, there was no tribo-electrification, so I was perfectly fine. So.
You had to release your solid hydrogen?
Yes, my solid hydrogen.
I can't do jumping jacks anymore unless
Hey, do you guys need anything more from me, or am I done forever?
Are you done forever?
I don't know. It's kind of, you can hang around if you want to, but if you want to go, you can go too. So it's up to you.
I'll hang out for a little tiny bit, but I'll go take a real quick little break too, and I'll let you do your thing, and then I'll try to hang out for a few minutes in After Dark.
There you go.
All right. I'll be right back. Good luck. Don't screw up. I'll be judging you.
Okay. Just like my dad. So,
I want one of those shirts.
Hi, Internet. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to intro myself. Thanks, myself. Are we waiting on me? Is that what's going on? Or?
Hey, whenever you're ready. Buddy.
Okay. I was like, when are we doing this? So, communication. It's been excellent today. Can't you tell?
Jared, you're on.
So, is this thing live? Oh my gosh! Cover your ears, children. So, I have to figure out how to do this. I'm not good at introducing myself, so.
You don't have to. You just have to say, hey.
Hey, you guys want to learn some cool stuff? I almost said a different word other than stuff. So,
I'm Jared Head, and this is your Space Pod.
hello, I'm Jared Head, and this is your Space Pod for Thursday, November, whatever it's going to be, 16th, right, or something? I don't know. So, yeah, that sounds good. We used to have alcohol in After Dark, and it was greatly enhanced by it. Alcohol and olives, so that was for sure. We should definitely bring that back. You guys can't. A lot of you can't see the rundown, but I literally have thanks myself at the end of my rundown here because I put jokes to myself in the rundown because I'm a moron. Anyways.
This is all you because I literally have to push 5 buttons.
Yeah, I know. So
whenever the hell you're ready.
Yep. Should I mark it?
Yeah.
X gonna give it to you. All right. And there's even more news that we didn't get to. Nope, that's not going to work.
Don't say that. Just say, hey.
Hey, you're back. Glad to have you. All right.
I think your first line is a good start.
Well, yeah, I've got to figure out how to get to that, though.
Just do it.
Just do it?
Yeah,
okay.
just do it. Just try it.
Do I need to mark it again? No? Okay. To show off my incredible ability to do production work. A lot of people would advocate that when it comes to people, it's not what's on the outside that counts, but what's on the inside. And with Enceladus,
edit that. Many people, or many would advocate. Sorry.
I can't just start changing my lines on the fly, Dada. It's going to blow me away. Anyway.
A lot of people would advocate when it comes to people.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be redundant on this show, so. Oh, hey, Tim. Welcome back. All right. Many people would advocate that it's not what's on the outside that counts, but
just many.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you said many people. Many would advocate when it comes to people.
All right. Maybe we need editors for the show, like script editors. So many people, or just many? I'm being serious. Legit. Just many. Gotcha. Thanks, Dada. So. Many would advocate. Many would advocate. Many would advocate that when it comes to people, it's not what's on the outside that counts, but what's on the inside that matters the most. And with Saturn's moon Enceladus, we can say the exact same thing. I hate my life. not used to having to memorize things.
You were going so well.
Everything was going so well, and then it just crashed and burned. It's literally my life. So, oh, jeez. All right. Many would advocate that when it comes to people, it's not what's on the outside that matters the most, but what's on the inside that... It's just one of those shows. And the worst part about this, too, is that I've got the camera looking right at me, and I'm just like, oh. So... Thanks, Donna. You want to just throw that on the screen real quick for me? I should be able to read that from this far away, right? I can see that. I can't do all that. See, this is the problem. I end up writing these things, and they're like really wonderful and sound great, and then I can't remember it for the life of me. So that's the way it goes. So. I can't. I'm moving this right next to the camera so that way I can read it. This is the biggest teleprompter I've ever seen. So. Whoops.
Well, now you're blocking the shot.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Jeez.
Well, I was
right
looking.
Right there. You're good.
I was looking at the wrong camera, so. No.
This is why you watch live.
Yeah, this is why you watch live. So. The entire chat room is typing it out. You guys are wonderful. So, other than. Anyways, so. All right, are we good? All right, it's all me now, right? Yeah, no pressure. All right. Dada, chat.tomorrow.tv. All right. Many would advocate that, and it's right in front of me, good God.
Well,
Ben's going to have so much fun editing this, isn't he? So,
no,
yeah, it's tons of fun. So,
look
all
at
right.
it and read through it first before you start the tape. Just give yourself like a practice run of it so you know there's no pressure of like, oh, this is it. Just read through it. It'll help. I'm serious.
Okay.
Like, it'll help you if you...
Many would advocate that when it comes to people, it's not what's on the outside that counts, it's what's on the inside of them that matters the most. And Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, is turning out to be an excellent real-life example of this idea. So, all right. Many would advocate that when it comes to people, it's not what's on the outside that counts. It's what's on the inside of them that matters the most. And Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, is turning out to be an excellent real-life example of this idea. Now, observations performed by the Cassini spacecraft in 2015 show us that Enceladus's icy surface is actually a shell. It's completely detached from its rocky core. That means that Enceladus has a global ocean underneath that crust of ice. But that ice is actually not thick enough to be the sole reason for the ocean remaining liquid. Tidal heating works wonders at a place like Jupiter's moon Europa, but there's likely not enough of that kind of energy to be the sole reason for keeping Enceladus's ocean liquid. That flexing of the ice generating the heat would actually only be good for keeping Enceladus's ocean liquid for about 30 million years. So a very curious study that was conducted by the University of Nantes in France took a look at the core of Enceladus, which is probably made of a combination of sand and gravel. Now, that water interacting with it actually generates friction as it moves the sand and gravel. And that movement of the sand and gravel was able to generate a sufficient amount of heat to keep Enceladus's oceans liquid even till now. So the oceans of Enceladus are likely as old as the solar system itself. Now, we already know that there are areas of intense heat on Enceladus, primarily at the south pole of Enceladus, which is where water plumes are prominent, and that molecular hydrogen and silicas that have been found in those water plumes by the instruments on board a Cassini during flybys indicate that not only is there geothermal activity in this area, but it's actually very similar to what we find with hydrothermal vents at the bottoms of Earth's oceans. And not only that, that kind of activity is currently active at Enceladus. So it's time to fire up those budgets and engineering divisions for a return to the Saturnian system for a proper investigation. And if you enjoy watching tomorrow, head on back to our YouTube channel and take a look at Orbit 10.42. We talk about the Commercial Crew Program, milestones that will be happening in 2018, and some of the upcoming events for us to take a look at in 2018 as well. Good.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Right. Should I just go ahead and say that?
Just do another one like you're coming out of it. Time to fire up those budgets.
Okay. So, time to fire up those budgets and engineering divisions for a much-needed return to the Saturnian system for a proper investigation. So, if you like this, make sure to tune in. Nope. All right, let's try it again. Time to fire up those budgets and engineering divisions for a proper return to the Saturnian system. Whoops. Nope, messed that one up. That's all right. Time to fire up those budgets and engineering divisions for a return to the Saturnian system for a proper investigation. So, if you like this, make sure to check out our show from last week, Orbit 10.42, where we talked about the Commercial Crew Program and some upcoming milestones in spaceflight for 2018. And of course, don't forget to watch our live show every Saturday at 1800 Coordinated Universal Time. And don't forget to like and subscribe to tomorrow. Good. All right, there we go. All right, so that's that. So
that'll do, Jared. That'll do.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a solo space pod. So I used to eat these for breakfast, yo. How about I move Tim back over since I don't need the world's largest teleprompter anymore? So.
Yeah. Oh, here I go. Oh.
Okay.
My wheelchair.
All right, so what's up? What we doing? We're just hanging out.
I'm hanging out.
Yeah, I'm hanging out Saturday.
Too. Great.
I'm just hanging out.
My Saturday.
So yeah,
there's Saturday.
That's what I do. We just sit here in front of cameras and let people watch us. That's how I spend my weekend. Yep. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah, I was enjoying the comments in the YouTube channels, of course. It's always fun. Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome to tomorrow. So, what are you up to, Jared? What's new for you?
Not much. Just kind of like chilling out. I'm going to go to the launch of JPS S1 on Tuesday, so looking forward to that.
And what's that on top of? I don't even remember.
Oh, that's on top of a Delta II. So
that's right. That's the one that I talked about last week.
Yeah, Tim. The Everyday Astronaut. Yeah, it's going to be the last of the 7,900 series Delta IIs. So 9 solids, 6 ground start, 3 air starts. So very much looking forward to it. So second to last Delta II ever. Hopefully the 99th consecutive launch of a Delta II as well.
What time is that launching?
That'll be at 1:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tuesday.
Is Kitty still interested in going to that?
I'm sorry?
Is Kitty still interested in going to that?
Oh, the butt-fucking crack of dawn?
Yeah.
Whoops, after dark.
With 2 kids? Yeah, sure, no problem.
Do it. Do it.
No, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday morning, so
Monday night.
Tuesday morning. Oh, no, my parents are back.
we'll leave.
So we'd have to take at least one child. Maybe we can pawn off the other.
Yeah, you can give away the other child. That's how that works, right?
Which one do you want to bring?
Yeah.
Well, we can't leave the baby overnight, and that's like...
Just sell them. Aren't kids worth quite a bit on the black market, or?
For Pete's sake. I like my children.
Yep. You can put them on the deep
I
web,
like
right?
children too.
I don't know. So
we know a lot about kids. Jared and I, we have all the advice for the children.
We've got tons.
Right.
Like my first word of advice for children is don't.
We'll
We'll
talk later.
Don't. I don't want to have to deal with any more strollers at Disneyland. So
I saw a really funny picture online, and it was someone pushing a dog in a stroller in a store, and in the background was a kid on one of those leashes. And they're like, I swear we're in some kind of alternate universe here.
I don't like this timeline. This is the bad. We got the bad timeline, I think. So.
What timeline? What do you mean timeline? What are you talking about? Timeline.
Tim, they're asking you about your. Oh, what's up?
Just saying thanks to Jim Burr.
Oh yeah. Thank you all who are still watching as we sit here awkwardly.
Yeah. What was the question?
They're asking you about your guitars in the background. I've seen multiple questions from multiple people. So.
Well, I'm a Fender guy. What we have here with me, this is my old trusty Telecaster thin line, and then an American Strat. Everybody's got to have one of those. And then I've got a Telecaster, a baritone Telly as well in the other room. And then I've got somewhere an old Dan Electro. Yeah. If you guys don't, I feel like I've already been made fun of enough for being Mr. Sponsored by EverydayAstronaut tomorrow.com. But yeah, all those all those videos that I make on YouTube, which I'm trying not to talk about, all that is original music. So if you want to hear my original music, just watch one of my YouTube videos.
Yeah, and you made the music, the jingle for our intro as well.
Yeah, well, I took your song and just took the bits out of it basically and turned it into a little thing that can loop so that it transitions well into that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks.
And you've got good music too. See?
Hey. It's got that. You know what I'm talking about? Just listen to this for an hour.
Yeah, we could do that.
Hour. Yeah, I like that. This will go on for a long time, by the way.
Oh yeah, I bet. So.
I also love how we're not talking; we're just listening to nothing.
Yeah, we are. But that's sometimes it's very important to do nothing in front of people.
Yeah, you're right. I should embrace it.
Yeah, just take it in. So just be with it. With everything. I just realized I'm going to 3 launches in 5 weeks. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's a lot of stuff.
I think I'm going to CRS. I'm going to go to CRS 13.
Nice.
But I still have to figure that out. But I'm going to make that happen. Because I'm going to be down. I have a speech in Sarasota, the day after. So I think I'm just going to change my flight and fly down there earlier. We'll see.
Yeah, might as well, right?
I have to. I don't get to see that many launches.
Yeah.
And I don't always get to go down to Florida. How far is the drive for you up to Vandy? Is it 3 or 4 hours?
It's one way. It's about 3 hours, So it's like it's usually a 7 to 8 hour round trip driving. So
yeah, yep,
it's a bit of a distance.
That's worth it.
So totally, absolutely worth it. So yeah,
that's great, especially once there's a hyperloop between there and not there. Ooh, you can just zip zap there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I could do that. If I ever get my Tesla 4x4, I could just autopilot it. And the cool thing about a Tesla 4x4 with autopilot is that it doesn't follow the road. Because it's a 4x4, it just makes a straight line between you and the place you're going to, and it just traverses the terrain as you're on your way there.
Yeah.
So
not even terrain, traverses buildings and people. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't actually require anything smart. It doesn't need any visuals.
Yeah.
All it needs is bigger tires than anything is going to be running over. So.
Exactly. So I mean, it's just
200-foot tall, wheels. No big deal.
Yeah, it's not a problem at all. So. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is.
You know what you probably could do is get a 300-foot tall wheel and then drive the Tesla backwards on top of it.
Right.
And that way you can still, when you get there, you can leave that big off-roading wheel somewhere, and still enjoy the car on the streets if you need to.
Yeah. I think I saw Reddit proposing that as a means by which to do it. I just realized that if I drive a straight line from where I live to Vandenberg, I'm gonna have to go in the ocean for a little bit, so that might be a little difficult to do.
Swamp. What do they call those big giant swamp rudders or whatever? Giant tires that have like the paddles on them.
I have no idea because that sounds like an extremely redneck kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
And this is Los Angeles, so.
So the
we don't. That's more like a San Bernardino kind of thing, So like San Bernardino, Riverside, kind of thing.
Ooh, those sound like fighting words.
What?
I'm from San Bernardino.
Sorry, San Bernardino and Riverside, but it's kind of true. So, yeah.
We got a good question. I feel like. What do you give the % chance for Falcon Heavy to work on the first time? So, I think that's a good question because I think that honestly, it's got to be a well beyond some people that go 50-50. No way.
No.
They would not roll the dice at 50-50. They have to be 93% confident in it not destroying their launch pad, basically.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is they're going to do a static fire. They're going to learn a ton from the static fire. As long as everything checks out, compared to the computer models and stuff with the static fire, they'll let the thing go. They just release the launch clamps on launch day, and it'll go up, and it'll be fine. I mean, I have a feeling they're 95% confident. I think they're most worried about max Q and booster separation.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are going to be the biggest concerns they have. So
yeah, I feel like it has to work. That's sort of my overall feeling about it, is that they don't have with the timeline that they want. There's no margin for error on anything at this point, especially since
blowing up 30A.
Especially since from what I understand, Falcon Heavy is the business case for funding BFR and BFS. So, yeah, they kind of. I feel like they can't afford a failure of it, and then have to spend more time to make that happen. So,
right, I agree. There is a lot of payloads as well. I don't know. I don't know what exactly the payload will be, though. We talked about that last week's show, but yeah. Somebody asked if they have multiple stage landing pads now. They have LZ1, the launch pad complex at the Cape, has one main pad and then a contingency pad, a secondary pad, that's been poured and it should be ready to go. It's slightly smaller, at least the runoff. So, they have that concrete pad and then a bunch of gravel. The concrete pad is physically smaller than the gravel is on the main one, but they have landed every single one of these within feet. So they don't need that contingency really. So, yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty good about it. So.
Mm-hmm. Darn right they are. Yeah.
It's like they know their stuff or something. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's the thing. They engineered the crap out of this stuff. It's not just like they aren't kerbling as much as we think they are. Yes, it looks silly to have. Well, it doesn't look that silly. The Delta.
Not at all. It's not silly to have a triple-barreled rocket. It's a pretty smart idea, actually. So. Yeah.
So I think people are just nervous because it's new, and Elon's definitely hyping it as being nervous, which there is nerves about it. Don't get us wrong. Like there's definitely, it's not 100%, and there is some risk involved, but it's not much riskier than any other initial flight of any other rocket, so. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. There we go.
Yeah, there is only one landing pad at Vandenberg right now. And from my understanding, that will probably remain that way because they don't have a payload that they need to launch from Vandenberg at the moment that would require the capability of Falcon Heavy. So
correct.
There's nothing on the manifest that would say that Falcon Heavy needs to do that. So
that'd be a huge polar orbit observation satellite or something.
Yes, that'd be massive. So like
the biggest thing that Falcon Heavy would be used for would be GTO, geostationary launches, which takes a lot more energy. So that's very size prohibitive right now. Satellites have to be pretty small-ish to be able to be launched by anything other than a heavy lift vehicle. So, and you don't do geostationary launches from Vandenberg. You do those from Florida. So, so that's the biggest business case will be heavy geostationary payload. So,
I'm just pulling up the payload capability of the largest rocket that's launched from Vandenberg, which is the Delta IV Heavy. I'm trying to find it specifically polar.
Delta IV Heavy launched from Vandenberg?
Yeah, the Delta IV Heavy. There have been two of them from Vandenberg, and I've been at both of them. Dutta, you were at one of them. So yeah, those puppies are unbelievable. So
yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of Delta IV Heavy. So.
Oh, that's right. They launched that out of the. This is the launch site that was supposed to be for the space shuttle, isn't it?
Yeah, out of Slick 6. So.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool.
Which hopefully I'll be going to. But we'll see if that actually ends up happening. So.
What do you mean going to?
I might be going to a launch there, but not in my usual capacity. So.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about it once everything's confirmed. I'm working on the details right now. But for one of the upcoming NRO launches, I'm working with people right now to try to get in and to get a remote pad camera. So,
heck yes.
Which would be nice. And it'll be going from Slick 6, so it's good. It's good. Yeah, Delta IV Heavy to polar orbit is approximately 23,560 kilograms. So quite a bit.
Yeah, but
that's a big thing. So
that is a big thing.
Yeah,
I'm actually really surprised that that's ever happened. So
yeah. Well, they had two of them.
They needed it.
Beforehand, it was the Titan IV that was launching those for the National Reconnaissance Office, right? Out of Vandenberg? Huh? Okay, you don't know? Okay. So, yeah, there's some big things that went out of Vandenberg, so it's pretty cool. So
yeah. That's sweet. I can't wait, though, for Falcon Heavy. That's going to be the best.
Yeah, I'm going to clear out my entire day just to watch it. So
the only thing that I'm nervous about, it's currently slated for, the 29th. I have to be here the 30th. In Iowa. So I'm actually really wishing for a small delay. I'm actually hoping for 2018 because I don't have anything going on in 2018 per se. So yeah, I need to see that.
Yeah, I think you should see that. So
I think so. Unless it happens to go early. If it goes because they're going to static fire most likely around mid-December. If that goes well and they're like, all right, we're launching next week, I could probably make that happen. So early.
Yeah. Of course, we'll see what happens. I'm of the opinion that Falcon Heavy will not be flying this year. It'll actually fly next year. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So
I'm privy to that as well. I feel like that's, there's always small delays and stuff. So
yeah, there's always unknowns and other things like that. So yeah.
And it's 3 new ground support equipment, or 2 more. I mean, on that, like, there's a lot more moving parts to this. Literally almost triple. So all new ground support systems and everything that have to be checked out for the first time. So
yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. You remember what it was like when they first started launching the full thrust or the Block 3 version or whatever, when there was just delays after delays after delays.
Yep.
Trying to get the cryogenics and all the loading procedures all figured out. Now they have to do that times 3. Granted, they super have it down now. I mean, we just don't see delays out of them anymore hardly. They set a date and then they hit it. And
yeah, they're not technical delays usually. So it's either weather or range or something like that. So
yeah, lately they've had no issues on the vehicles, which is awesome. I feel like the last 5 missions have just been like, here's the date, goes. Here's the date, it goes. Here's the date, it goes. So they got that figured out, but now they still have to figure out how to do that with 3 cores, which is another thing. So
yeah. I like Shaky in the chat room. They'll do a launch on December 31st at 23:59:59. So still get it in for 2017. So
happy boost year!
So I'd be down for that. So
I hope not. No, I can't have that. It needs to be later. Like, make it January 2nd or something. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. So I'd have no.
Great. It's coming though. It's very soon. It's coming very, very soon. I'm very, very excited about it.
Yeah, I would. I just want to see the tracking camera footage from that launch, because that's going to be amazing. Because I love the footage from Delta IV Heavy launches. Also, I'm wondering too if Falcon Heavy is going to light itself on fire like Delta IV Heavy does. Because a lot of people don't know this. But in order for a Delta IV Heavy to launch, it actually has to ignite the lower half of itself. That's what starts the engines. And then, just kidding.
I was like, wait, really? They use it as a candle wick. It's like, here we go, and we'll go up with the guy with a matchstick and light all 3 cores to get the insulation burning, and then we'll turn the engines on, and that should be enough fire to make it happen. Now that's due to excess hydrogen, correct? Isn't that burps of hydrogen? Oh, I lost your audio. Oh no!
Did your mic die?
His mic dead. His mic dead. Yeah, he gone. He dead. Oh, I thought you were gonna drop your laptop. Magic trick, cool magic tricks. Here, I'll say what he's saying. Whoa, my name's Jared. I'm trying to toot right now into this little blue chair. No one will hear it right now because I don't have a microphone. Okay. There we go. Wonderful. Okay, anyway. So let me tell you a little bit about science. Space is full of tall and gangly structures known as globiferouses, and not to be confused with something that starts with a C and ends with a iteruses. I said globiferouses. Now, that's all space is actually made out of. And it's hard for me to recall this stuff as my head is in my hands. So I'll explain a little bit more about what they actually do. They're constantly accelerating at 9.8 meters per second, which is what gives them the gravity. That's how gravity works, folks. Constant, unending acceleration. Take it from me, I'm an astronomer named Jared Head.
Oh my gosh. I'm almost terrified to go back into the chat room now, so.
Yeah.
My gosh. So.
I think that works. Oh, somebody says stay close to my mic. My mic is on me. It must just be because I'm getting, lazy. Oh. There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for me.
You're cut off.
Yeah, you're done. You're done here, Tim.
Actually, I probably am done. I have to do some life work, you know.
Yeah, I think we're most certainly have wound down for sure. So
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I think we're all ready to go into the great beyond.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's it. So I guess we're done. We're done here. So you ready, Dutta? All right. So bye, Tim. We'll see you later. Bye, Internet.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We'll see you later. See you next week.